with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, vulnerable Jamaicans urged to make use of the government's $1 billion solidarity program.
We encourage everyone who falls in the categories, please reach out to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Jamaicans being encouraged to make a proper assessment of the work done by leaders over the last decade as the general election looms.
Anthony Hilton says the Holness administration does not deserve sole credit for the economic stability the country now enjoys.
This is a government that has had more resources available to than any other government in recent time. And no one can claim that this is all due to them alone.
IMF continues to praise Jamaica for maintaining sound macroeconomic policies and enhancing fiscal responsibility.
The Integrity Commission lauds landmark Supreme Court ruling affirming its authority to request information from financial institutions.
In news from the rest of the world, TNT assists U.S. in $25 million drug bust in Portugal.
Donald Trump says the United States will meet with Iran next week about a potential nuclear agreement.
In headline sports, Australia fights back after falling for 180 on opening day of first test against West Indies in Barbados.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions says it discontinued its case against Wysinco over allegations of environmental pollution in the Rio Cobre in July 2023. This was due to critical gaps in evidence that rendered the prosecution legally unviable. NEPA's CEO, Leonard Francis, will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to 4 Jamaican athletes switching allegiance to Turkey? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, June 25, 2025.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is urging vulnerable Jamaicans to make use of the government's $1 billion solidarity program, which is now in effect. He was speaking at the launch of the initiative at Jamaica House today.
There might be some who will criticize the program and say, it's only $20,000 and it's one-off. That is where they don't understand the program. So this is what is described as a conditional cash transfer. It is conditional on the person receiving the transfer to become formally registered in the social safety net so that you can continue with formal benefits over time directly. We encourage everyone who falls in the categories, please reach out to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Under the Solidarity Program, one-time cash grants of $20,000 will be provided to 50,000 eligible Jamaicans. To be eligible, individuals should not be beneficiaries of any existing social welfare programs. These include the Program of Advancement through Health and Education Path, the Social Pension Program, National Insurance Scheme, or the Reverse Income Tax Credit. Once approved, disbursements will be made via bank transfer or remittance agency. Dr. Holness says the program is not an empty promise.
There are those who are thinking, hey, this is an election program. This program was announced in November, but it was thought about at the same time when we did the reverse tax credit and funded. So this is not a promise. This is funded. This is in the budget. It took us some time to roll out how it will be done so that we don't end up with issues of people trying to get but the program doesn't work because the administrative issues weren't sorted out. So we took the time to work out those issues. So once the minister declares the program as live, then everyone should be able to participate.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is encouraging Jamaicans to make a proper assessment of the work done by leaders over the last decade as general elections are fast approaching. He made the comment while closing the 2025-2026 sectoral debate on Tuesday.
My quick review of work being done by the ministers across the different sectors, an invitation for Jamaicans to assess the stewardship of our leaders. They can now weigh the talk against the walk. And we confidently welcome that review because their record is clear. We have not only governed, we have led. Yes. We have not only responded to the crisis, we have planned for the future. In the face of global uncertainty, we have maintained a steady hand.
The general election is constitutionally due by December this year. In recent weeks, both the governing JLP and the opposition PNP have been laying out their plans and achievements, citing that citizens have a very critical decision to make in short order. Dr. Chang outlined a number of major achievements by the government, including the efficient management of the economy and the security of citizens.
Two fundamental challenges have long affected Jamaica and have stood in the way as obstacles to Jamaica's growth and prosperity. All of the things, in fact, revolve around both. One is the efficient management of our economy, and of course, the security and safety of our people. On both fronts, this government has acted with purpose and precision and with success. We will complete it in the third term. The long time of neglect could not be corrected in such a short time. Despite the economic shockwaves of COVID-19 pandemic, Jamaica has managed to maintain macroeconomic stability. Inflation has been moderated. Interest rates have been responsibly managed. Foreign reserves are strong. Debt to GDP ratio have improved significantly and provided great fiscal space for the expenditure needed to correct the errors of the past.
Dr. Horace Chang, a Minister of National Security.
Opposition spokesman on global logistics Anthony Hilton says the Holness administration alone is not to be credited for the economic stability the country is now enjoying. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online today, Mr. Hilton says the JLP has benefited from the economic groundwork laid by previous PNP governments.
This is a government that has had more resources available to than any other government in recent time because of the policies and strategies begun in the PNP administration and carried over into this administration. I was part of an administration that made tremendous effort to right this economy and to get the fiscal laws in place, to get the economy on track. In fact, like Sandiford in Barbados, we paid a political price for the fiscal tightness and what we did, and Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson-Miller must be congratulated. The people of Jamaica more so sacrificed a tremendous amount, and no one can claim that this is all due to them alone.
Mr. Hilton says the declining crime numbers are also partially due to the PNP.
Quality of life for the Jamaican people will be the key. So low unemployment, as we have said, is low remuneration. It is inflation. It is the wrong set of policies when it comes on to housing. We all must support the lowering of crime because that's critical, because Jamaicans pay a heavy price. People's National Party has insisted from day one that the strategy that was being pursued, that abridged the rights of Jamaicans, which the courts have affirmed, was not the only strategy available. And that should not be the one of first choice. We have always said, and it is written and presented to the police. I was there when it was written and done by Mark Golding about targeting the criminal, and we say we will support the targeting and things.
Anthony Hilton, opposition spokesman on global logistics.
Meanwhile, Mr. Hilton told host Cliff Hughes that the PNP is poised to win the next general election.
I'm not in a prediction game. What I'll tell you is that we'll form the government, the next government.
I mean, you'll win 32 and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, decisively.
Well, let me say this. I believe that what we're seeing in the numbers is hiding a lot of things. And what I see on the ground and feel on the ground is not as close as we think. I think there are surprises.
Anthony Hilton, opposition spokesperson on global logistics.
The opposition People's National Party PNP says when it forms the next government, it will allow individuals and families who have lived for decades on government-owned lands the opportunity to purchase them at affordable rates. The plan was put forward by Member of Parliament for South West Clarendon Lothan Cousins as part of his sectoral debate presentation yesterday. Cousins says this is part of the PMP's clear and people-focused plan to unlock government lands and build an ownership society grounded in fairness, dignity, and economic justice.
A future PNP government will take bold steps, including drawing inspiration from Dominica, as mentioned earlier. We will revisit the issue of government land and how persons who have been living on it for decades can benefit. We are not merely just giving it away, but a system must be designed to ensure that those in possession for an extended period be given an opportunity to legally acquire these lands. This is how we create an ownership society. When we do this, we are not only building an ownership society, we are building national pride, we are building progress, we are building and creating opportunities for independence, and we are most importantly resolving the long-standing issue of security of tenure.
Mr. Cousins emphasized that the approach will not be one size fits all, but will involve consultation, flexibility, and, where necessary, relocation to ensure sustainability and safety. The plan also includes a major affordability measure, with the cost of land being excluded from NHD housing prices. He says this will result in savings to the individual of $2 to $3 million. Cousins also called attention to the need to modernize the Registration of Titles Act. The Act currently requires 60 years of continuous occupation to claim Crown land. He's proposing this be adjusted to 25 years.
This is particularly true of Crown lands, which in a real sense belongs to the people and should be used by the people for the benefit of the people. So we're not giving it to them, it's theirs. They are the ones who elected us here and put us here. They are the ones who ensured and suffered over decades and centuries. They have been occupying these lands and they deserve a piece of the pie. Mr. Speaker, we cannot discuss land ownership without looking at the Registration of Titles Act. Now, under this 1833 law, mark the date, a person in adverse possession of Crown land was unable to prove possession unless they reach the 60-year mark. We are proposing the reduction of 60 years to 25 years.
Lothan Cousins, the Member of Parliament for South West Clarendon.
A taxi driver and his passenger were shot and killed on Wednesday afternoon in Mommy Bay, St. Anne, after gunmen posing as passengers opened fire on them at point-blank range. The brazen attack occurred just before 2 p.m. along a section of Greenwich Acres near the Rio Hotel. The police reports that the victims were traveling in a grey Toyota Probox taxi, traveling from Ocho Rios towards St. Anne's Bay. 4 people were reportedly aboard the vehicle. Acting Senior Superintendent in charge of St. Anne, Rohan Elliott, told Nationwide News that 2 of the men in the taxi requested a stop in the vicinity of Greenwich Acres, just outside the hotel. As they exited the vehicle, they both pulled guns and opened fire. One of the gunmen shot the taxi driver, while the other targeted the passenger. The killers then fled at the scene. The crime scene has caused a major disruption to traffic. Law enforcement cordoned off the area, resulting in a long traffic snarl that extended as far as the Edward Seaga Highway. Traffic is currently being diverted through Greenwich Acres and Steertown. The police are advising members of the public to use an alternative route to the Mommy Bay Main Road in St. Anne. Motorists heading westerly will be diverted through the Greenwich Acres housing scheme onto Steertown Main Road to the Drax Hall intersection and onto the AGR Byfield Main Road. Motorists traveling easterly will follow a similar route in reverse.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision, including diabetes, hypertension, and some cancers. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today. The time by IQ Optical is
14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
We don't want to have a security force where people fear our police more than they fear gunmen. Every officer here, what they really want when they walk out in their community is that people say, I want my son to follow in your footsteps. They want respect, and they know they can't get that respect if people just fear them as how they fear criminals. So let us invest in building a security force that we can all be proud of. I want the security force that we are building to have ultimate and utmost respect for human rights. Let us make our JCF the force for good, the force to protect us. There were transgressions in the past. There are members of the force who they haven't got the memo yet, but I'm certain that the system that is in place in the JCF with the new leadership and command, that when officers violate, they will be dealt with. This is a world-class policing institution that we are building, one in which you can be proud and one that will be an example for the rest of the region.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Continuing the news, Jamaica recorded a significant decline in exports for the period January to February 2025, with spending on imports increasing compared to the corresponding period for 2024. That's according to the latest report released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin. The island's total import bill for the period amounted to $1,321 million, while export earnings totaled $306.2 million. Import expenditure rose by 1.9% compared to the $1,297 million recorded for the same period in 2024. The growth in imports was mainly driven by increased purchases of raw material, intermediate goods, and consumer goods, which went up by 6.2% and 9.9% respectively. In contrast, total exports declined by 8.9% compared to the $336 million earned in the corresponding period last year. Statin attributed the fall to a sharp 41% drop in the value of exported mineral fuels. The United States of America, China, Brazil, Nigeria, and Colombia remain Jamaica's top 5 import partners during the review period. On the export side, Jamaica's leading markets were the United States, the Russian Federation, Iceland, Canada, and France.
Director of Investigations for the Integrity Commission, Kevin Stevenson, has concluded that there were serious breaches of procurement procedures, misuse of authority, and unethical conduct in the procurement of services by the National Education Trust, NET. The report was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Stevenson alleges that Acting Executive Director of the Trust, Marcia Phillips Dawkins, fraudulently used the signature of a procurement manager on a request for quotation RFQ. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The investigation was triggered after media reports in November 2021 indicated that the executive director of the National Education Trust, NET, was placed on precautionary leave due to concerns about the entity's fiduciary affairs. Allegations are that Marcia Phillips Dawkins fraudulently used the signature of a procurement manager on a request for quotation, RFQ, sent to a supplier without the latter's knowledge or consent. A formal referral was made to the Commission's Director of Investigations, DI, on April 6, 2022, prompting a probe on April 14, 2022. In his report, the DI says Mrs. Phillips Dawkins issued an RFQ on May 11, 2021, bearing the electronic signature of the procurement manager, which it was found she did not authorize. This act was deemed inappropriate, unethical, and misleading. The DI found that it was irregular for the head of an entity to prepare and issue solicitation documents, a responsibility that should fall to the Specialist Procurement Unit. The DI alleges that the procurement exercise was not handled in accordance with the Public Procurement Act or NET's established procedures. The report says the use of the signature, even though it was from a previously prepared template, did not constitute consent for it to be reused on a new procurement document. While Mrs. Phillips Dawkins' contract with NET was not renewed at the end of 2021, the Director of Investigations notes that she remained in the employ of the Ministry of Education and Youth. The report recommends that NET should fully adhere to all relevant procurement laws and ensure the procurement function remains with the designated unit. It's also recommended that officers should be trained in procurement principles such as transparency, fairness, competition, and value for money. It's urging NET to enforce clear segregation of procurement roles to prevent conflicts of interest or misuse of power. Meanwhile, given her conduct, disciplinary proceedings are being recommended against Mrs. Phillips Dawkins by her current employer, the Ministry of Education and Youth. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The U.S. Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago is crediting the security cooperation between the two countries for the recent seizure of more than 1,600 kilograms of cocaine in Portugal. The drugs, valued at $25 million US, were seized in a sailboat that left the Twin Island Republic on June 14. The vessel was intercepted by the Portuguese Navy. The embassy says the seizure was part of Operation Viking, an investigation targeting a drug trafficking organization for 2 years. It involved U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration DEA agents in Trinidad and Tobago, Portugal, Spain, and Denmark. 3 foreign nationals were also arrested during the seizure. The U.S. Embassy says the seizure represents the success of Trinidad and Tobago's law enforcement efforts to focus on transnational drug trafficking that uses the Caribbean as a base of operations.
President Donald Trump told reporters on Wednesday that the U.S. will meet with Iran next week about a potential nuclear agreement. Trump made the disclosure during a news conference at the end of the NATO summit in The Hague. He added that his administration would be asking for the same type of commitments it sought in negotiations with Iran prior to recent heightened tensions in the Middle East. However, Trump says he doesn't believe the agreement is necessary as the U.S. successfully destroyed Iran's nuclear capabilities. Trump told reporters he had asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio if he wanted to draw up an agreement. The president said he believed the U.S. could get the Iranians to sign the document. A ceasefire is currently ongoing between Iran and Israel.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. Taxi driver and passenger shot dead in Maumee Bay, St. Anne this afternoon.
Vulnerable Jamaicans urged to make use of the government's $1 billion Solidarity Program.
Jamaicans being urged to make a proper assessment of the work done by leaders over the last decade as a general election looms.
Anthony Hilton says the Holness administration doesn't deserve sole credit for the economic stability the country is now enjoying.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
The future belongs to the bold, to those ready to realign with purpose and prosperity. Realign 2025 connects Africa and the Caribbean, where innovation meets investment. Speakers include Senator the Honorable Audrey Marks, Nigerian Ambassador Janet Olisa, David Mullings, Anthony Hilton, and Christopher Denny. For investors, access to high potential ventures. For SMEs, funding partnerships and global market entry. June 25 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Realign with your destiny. Register now at entrapartners.com/re-align.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. 14 wickets fell for 237 runs on Wednesday's opening day of the first cricket test between West Indies and Australia at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. Jaden Seales and Shamar Joseph together claimed 9 of those wickets as Australia, choosing to bat, were dismissed for 180. Usman Khawaja, 47, and Travis Head, 59, shared in a 4th wicket stand of 89 to provide the only real Australian resistance, as Seales ended with 5 for 60 and Joseph 4 for 46. The West Indies reply started poorly, with former captain Craig Brathwaite 3 and John Campbell on his test return 7 were back in the pavilion shortly after they went out to bat. Informed Casey Carthy, 20, and vice-captain Jomil Warrick, naught, followed within 2 balls of each other to close to the end of the day's play, as Mitchell Starc took 2 for 35, and there was 1 apiece for captain Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. Seales, who was taking his 3rd 5-wicket haul in tests, says the wicket played a part in his performance.
Yeah, it was a bit slower than the Australians would be expecting, especially. And it worked in our favour with them playing a lot balls that they didn't have to and playing with hard hands so the edges would carry.
Jaden Seales, Brandon King on his test debut was not out 23 at close, and with him his captain Ruston Chase on 1. The All Grace Headley selection defeated the Grey Shield 11 by 5 wickets in their 50-over clash on the lights at Sabina Park on Tuesday. The Grey Shield team was dismissed for 173 in 43 overs and 1 ball, and in reply, the All Headley raced to 174 for 5 thanks to O'Dane Baines 43, Tyson Gordon 38 not out, and Dujani West 34 not out. The teams are meeting again in a T20 encounter this evening, starting at 6 at the same venue. They're playing for the Don Webby Trophy in recognition of the former head of the Grace Kennedy Group's contribution to schoolboy cricket in Jamaica. The battle for spots on Jamaica's team to the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan in September, and other global and continental championships gets underway in earnest on Thursday, the opening day of the J3A's 4-day national trials at the National Stadium. The championship opens at 9 a.m. with the senior men's 100 meters qualification. The quarterfinals are set for later in the evening, along with those of the women, featuring Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in her final appearance ever at these championships. In addition to the hundreds, the opening day will also feature action in the 800 meters men and women, the 400 meters hurdles, and the flat 400 meters. President of the J3A's Garth Gale told Nationwide Sports that he's looking forward to watching the country's best athletes battle it out over the 4 days.
Every race, every throwing event, jump, throw, will be, watched with great expectation. And so we want our athletes to be able to continue to do well. And hence the reason why we chose the date. The earlier, the better. And so they now can concentrate on going to earn and to improve their performances as they get ready for Tokyo.
President of the J3A's Garth Gale, a record 720 athletes have entered for the championships, up from the 647 who took part last year. Nationwide 90 FM will have coverage of the championship with live commentary of all the evening sessions starting on Friday. Finally, in sports at this time, national football coach Steve McLaren says the team is not as good as it thinks. Following their early elimination from CONCACAF Gold Cup action in the USA, the Jamaicans crashed out at the group stage of the tournament for the first time in 16 years on Tuesday night after a 4-1 defeat to Panama in their final Group C game in Texas. Ismael Diaz scored a first-half hat-trick to steer Panama to the impressive win and group honours. Amare Bell got Jamaica's consolation. Jamaica now has a 3-month break before getting back into action in September for the final round of World Cup qualifying action. And McLaren's warning the players that none of them are sure picks in his squad.
Despite the results and everything, this has been just what we needed to see. It's a wake-up call. People who think they're comfortable in this squad, we've all had a wake-up call of what we can do and what we can't do. We've got 6 of the biggest games of our lives ahead of us, and there's failures, but you always learn lessons from it. I've learned so many.
Steve McLaren, Guatemala took second place in the group after beating Guadeloupe 3-2 and will follow Panama into the quarterfinals. That will do it for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airport Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 27 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Get on the rum with Appleton Estate this month. Dive into the history, craftsmanship, and experience a taste of Jamaican excellence. Indulge in your favorite Appleton Estate cocktails and food pairings available at participating restaurants. Or receive a complimentary Appleton 8-year-old Reserve 200 ml when you purchase a bottle of Appleton Estate's Signature Blend 750 ml while stocks last at participating outlets. Appleton Estate. Land on the extraordinary. Follow us at Appleton Estate JA to get on the rum. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Wellington Dental believes that a smile tells 1,000 words. They are dedicated to giving their patients high-quality dental care, offering a full range of dental services so all of your family's needs are met under one roof. Fillings, extractions, crowns, bridges, and much more. They also accept patients using wheelchair. Visit Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town's premier dental provider. Call them today at 876-749-3515.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here. With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon, Ricardo, and good afternoon to our listeners. How are you this afternoon, Ricardo?
I'm not bad, Sanjay. How are you?
Wonderful. Amazing. I'm thankful for life.
Good. We're turning our attention this afternoon to the collapse of that case, that pollution case against Wisynco, the DPP describing it as legally unviable. Well, the Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, she's describing it as a disgrace. She says the critical gaps in evidence in the pollution case brought by the National Environment and Planning Agency against Wisynco was a disgrace. The office of the DPP had to discontinue the case on Monday due to insufficient evidence.
Well, according to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, this rendered the prosecution legally unviable. Dr. Rodriguez Moody says NEPA is culpable.
I think it's a disgrace that we have a pollution incident that receives such scant regard from our environmental regulator. It appears that even the most basic investigative steps were not followed, leaving there no usable evidence, and ultimately no one is held accountable. It shows that there is a lot more training that needs to take place. If you have an investigation, whether or not it's an accident or not, it doesn't matter. The law does not distinguish. And therefore, one would expect that all the proper procedures for determining source, cause, making sure that you take samples above, below, all of those things are just basic things that should be done. And so it's very important that NEPA looks back at its enforcement and compliance mechanisms.
Wisynco was charged on the Wildlife Protection Act following a report of a pipeline leakage into the Rio Cobra in St. Catherine in July of 2023. Now, in a statement, the office of the DPP outlined that no water samples were collected from the river or the leaking pipeline for scientific testing. It says the nature of the fluid discharge was never identified and that no tests were done to establish the nature of the substance that caused the death of the fish.
Nor did NEPA do any work to establish whether the fish kill was related to a leakage in the river. Dr. Rodriguez Moody says there continues to be a lack of faith in NEPA.
There has long been concern for NEPA. The community has not had a lot of faith in how NEPA has operated. There has been other cases where NEPA has dismissed the complaints of the communities, and then later on, in that same year, 2023, we got the investigative report. We realized that the community was in fact correct. So there's a lot of mistrust for NEPA, and we want to see that improve and build back. But the only way that's going to happen is if they can really trust that NEPA is acting in the public's interest. And at the moment, this is not coming through to the community. So we really need some clarity on what our next steps and how we don't see a repeat of this ever again.
That's Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, the Chief Executive Officer of JET. In the meantime, NEPA's CEO, Leonard Francis, says the agency did the requisite legwork. He's going to join us in a little bit. And Sanjay, this is a strange case because speaking to the Director of Public Prosecutions, she's outlining that essentially it didn't meet the evidentiary standard. And I've had sight of a site warning that was issued by NEPA to Wisynco that appears to have been signed as having been received by, I'm assuming this is a representative of Wisynco, and it stipulates a discharge of effluent into the environment via burst pipe. So there does seem to be a acceptance based on this on the part of Wisynco that some kind of discharge did occur. And based on the Wildlife Protection Act, that would be a breach. Yeah. But what I'm not clear on is whether this site warning notice can stand up in court as evidence. The DPP seems to be suggesting it cannot because a statement would have been required from Wisynco accepting legal culpability.
And also the necessary testing. It seems to me, based on what Dr. Rodriguez Moody indicated, is that there are various levels of testing that must be done and that evidence must be provided. And there are certain guidelines that you must follow, in essence, for it to stand up in court. And it seems, based on what is said, that was not done. The necessary protocols or the proper protocols were not followed.
Yeah, the DPP did say she was unable to join, but what I would want to get and this site warning was sent, it appears, at least twice to the office of the DPP. So the question is, could it not be relied on at all? And if so, why? And what were the specific questions posed, such that the office concluded that it could not continue, it could not sustain the legal case against Wisynco?
Well, as you indicated, Ricardo, NEPA is insisting that its team followed all the protocols, and I want to hear from their executive director as it relates to the testing. What is that protocol, or what are the different protocols if it's more than one that is involved? And in this particular case, did they follow all the necessary steps? Because majority of it, as I indicated, Ricardo, seems to surround that testing, which is important. And it seems to me that the DPP would need that as evidence in the case that was brought.
Where in the river did you test? Did you test close to the area of the spill, the burst pipe? Did you test what exactly was coming from the burst pipe? Did you test the fish, that you found involved in the fish kill, to see whether there was some correlation between what might have killed them and what was coming out of Wisynco? Because the DPP seems to be suggesting that you can't just assume that because there was a spill from Wisynco, then that automatically meant that's what caused the fish kill.
Mm-hmm. And Ricardo, another question that I have to ask, because normally when the office of the DPP is preparing documentation to go to court, there's certain coordination that happens between whatever agency and the office of the director of public prosecution. So was there a breakdown in the communication or the coordination between NEPA and the DPP's office? Because the DPP is saying she did not receive the necessary evidence, and NEPA is saying, well, the evidence is here, we have it. Is it that, there was an outline of what is it that the office of the DPP would need? And is it that NEPA supplied all of those necessary evidence to the DPP?
And this would have been about the time where Claudette Thompson was acting DPP, because I see where this was sent on December 13, 2024, and again sent on June 19, or rather sent on June 19, 2024, and again sent on December 13, 2024. So that would have been around the time Claudette Thompson was acting as DPP. So there are a lot of questions, and hopefully Mr. Francis can shed some light as to the steps certainly NEPA took. I understand the DPP's office is preparing a detailed statement to be issued to the media and to the public, where she will outline why she believes, notwithstanding NEPA's claim that they followed all the steps, that a case could not be sustained in law.
And notice, Ricardo, NEPA is urging the stakeholders and the public to recognize that the collapse of the prosecution involved multiple parties. So we need to hear more from NEPA now, because is it that they're pointing fingers at whichever agency or whichever entity to say that they didn't do what they ought to do to help with the case?
Yeah. We're up on the break. We're going to take the break, and after the break, we should be joined by Leonard Francis, NEPA's CEO.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:43.
Burn Shock fried chicken always ready. Burn Shock original crispy. Burn Shock Cajun spicy. Burn Shock a barbecue. Burn Shock we are going Burn Shock.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay and Ochivios is
30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486 to 7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
perform outlast. Guilty. With top performance. Guilty. Chakama. Reliable. Full stop. Not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. In 2 to 3 years. Hilton. Available at Delta Supply. 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM from 6 to 9 p.m. for our live broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting at Fletcher's Land Community Center, Sunday, June 29. Hear from Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie and special guest speaker Olivia Babsy Grange, alongside Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, Pernell Charles, Anne-Marie Vaz, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, Donovan Williams, Senator Delano Seavright, Senator Shireen Golding Campbell, and Donovan Samuels. It's the Area Council 1 meeting at Fletcher's Land Community Center, Sunday, June 29 from 6 to 9 p.m. right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the West Kingston constituency and the Jamaica Labour Party. Due to the broadcast of the Area Council 1 meeting on Sunday, June 29, Jamaican Dads, Immaculate Moments, and Baha'i Faith will not be aired.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. You're tuned in to the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis.
We're assessing the situation of the collapse of a pollution case against Wisynco. It's being described by the Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, as a disgrace. We have with us now Leonard Francis, the CEO of NEPA. Good afternoon, Mr. Francis.
Pleasant good afternoon to you and your team and your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. NEPA is coming under fire. JET says it's disgraceful. The DPP's office seems to be suggesting they didn't have enough evidence to continue with this prosecution. What went wrong?
Well, what I can tell you quickly is that the entity that I lead, what we did is that we do routine patrols within various areas. Each enforcement officer is actually assigned areas within the various parishes that they do patrols on. And one of our enforcement officers, she was actually doing a patrol and she got a call in respect of a fish kill in an area called the Bar area by the fishermen along the Rio Cobre. In going along the Rio Cobre, she discovered in the vicinity of the Wisynco sewage treatment plant a broken pipe. Now, if you will understand, one of the major Wisynco facilities are actually on one side of the river, meanwhile the sewage treatment plant is on the other side of the river. So the pipe is actually traverses the river to actually reach the sewage treatment pipe. Now, what she saw was a broken pipe. This pipe was about 30 feet in the air. And what happened also, it was along an area which was inaccessible. It was heavily vegetated, very steep banks, so she was not able to actually go down into the river at that point. What she did is that she actually called for backup and actually called out to Wysinco as well to explain to them that they were actually polluting the river because she saw the pipe broken and water was being discharged into the Rio Cobre.
And when she reached out to Wysinco on that point to say that, you know, she believed that they were polluting the river, what was the response?
Well, the response I got, which I saw on file, is that they had stated that they were doing some work and that they did not know that the pipe was actually broken. They actually, when she spoke to them, they stated that what they would do, they would stop pumping so that the pollution incident the impact would be reduced.
Mm-hmm. Right.
She then went, sorry.
No, finish the point.
Yeah, she then went further along the river, along with the backup that she had actually called, and we did sampling at 3 points along the river. But in actually getting to access to the points along the river, we saw several fish that were gasping for breath. And then further along in an accessible area, we saw several dead fish piled in an area. So one, there were fish within the water, but we could not access those based on where they were. And someone had placed some dead fish along the bank of the river. Those fishes were actually rotting with flies on them, so we could not actually use them for sampling.
Mm-hmm.
So we did 3 samples.
Yes. Well, I want to just get some more information.
Sorry, Sanjay, if I could the 3 samples, just remind us the samples, you took samples of what exactly?
All right, so of the water itself. So we took 2 samples at what the fisherman called the bar area along the Rio Cobre, and we took 1 sample at Crumb Ewing Bridge.
And did you take any samples from the fish, the dead fish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sanjay.
Yes. So what I'm trying to understand as it relates to the sampling, when NEPA is conducting sampling, is there a specific protocol, or are there protocols or standards that must be followed? And in this particular case, can you confirm whether these procedures were fully adhered to?
Yes, they were followed, and I explained. Mm-hmm. We actually took the bottles. We had an igloo with ice. So we actually take the samples, we mark them, we mark the location we got them from. They are now placed in a container on ice, and they're then taken to the lab that we have, the NEPA certified lab. Mm-hmm. There's a chain of custody paper that is done as well, and the lab actually receives them. They are stored, and then they are analyzed, and then a certificate is issued. That entire process was followed.
And when you submitted these documentary evidence to the office of the DPP, did they come back to you to indicate that it's insufficient?
What had happened? No, we never got any information that it was insufficient. We did not.
The site warning that was issued when your title is enforcement officer noted the spill into the river. This was sent to the DPP's office, yes?
Yes. What we did is that we copied the entire file and we did send it to the DPP.
And just to follow up with Sanjay's question, because a lot seems to be now turning on this site warning notice, because it would appear that Wysinco did sign and receive confirming that they acknowledge that there was a discharge. It says discharge of untreated trade effluent into the environment via burst pipe. And this signature I'm seeing here received by would be an official of Wysinco, correct?
Yeah, that was the person that we had that was on site with us. We had told you before that we had actually reached out to them and someone came out.
Right. And so when you sent this site warning notice to the DPP's office, there was no indication to you, and I see that you sent it at least twice, June 19, 2024, December 13, 2024. You're saying that there was no indication from the DPP's office that something like this did not have sufficient evidentiary value and that you needed something else.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, we did not. But what I could do, I have consulted the legal person. I could actually talk to them again. But I for myself, I never got anything back from the DPP's office in respect of the information was sufficient.
So talk to me then about the coordination. You would have sent the documents over to the office of the DPP. They would have indicated to you that they have received the documents. What else happened during that process?
Well, if you remember, we were the ones actually prosecuting the case, but then all cases that we were doing, criminal cases, they were actually turned over to the DPP. We have actually met with the DPP coming out of a previous case, and we had some agreements moving forward, which was a part of a previous press release that was actually sent out. What had happened, though, is that what we were expecting is, one, we were expecting to have a meeting with the DPP, and we're also expecting that our team would have probably had discussions with the investigators as well. But as I've explained to persons over and over, the DPP team is very experienced in a lot of these matters, and I have no reason to say they did not take everything in account. Moving forward for me, though, I would like greater collaboration just to ensure that mishaps like these do not happen. But I would like to categorically state we actually did sampling. We visited the site. The laboratory issued results. We had issued warning notices. The only issue we had, as I said before, was that the location where the pipe was burst was inaccessible. The other thing as well is that...
So sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Francis. So because the area was inaccessible, did the sampling conclusively prove that the effluent that was in the river did in fact come from Wisynco?
Well, I could not say yes to that, but you could have a cause and effect. We could actually have a cause and effect, right? What we can tell you is that the samples collected showed that you had very high levels of BOD, and there were other levels as well that were out. We had the BOD, we had and other levels, were out as well. I could not definitively state that we could say it came definitively from Wisynco. But what we can tell you, though, Section 11 of the Wildlife Protection Act states, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, every person who causes or knowingly permits the flow or puts or knowingly permits to be put, whether directly or indirectly, into any harbor, river, stream, canal, lagoon, or estuary containing fish, any trade effluent, industrial waste or sewage, or any noxious or polluting matter shall be guilty of an offense against this section. Now, the reality is that there's no doubt that the pipe was burst. There's no doubt that waste was going in the river. And we believe that that would have been fulfilled based on the face of the statute, even if the argument could be that the levels did not allow for the fish kill. But
that's precisely the point, though. You have to therefore prove that it was because of that broken pipe why we have had that fish kill.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh.
Well, right. No, so I understand what you're saying under the wildlife.
The waste is in the river,
right.
As long as the pipeline puts the waste in the river, Section 11 applies. You do not have to have a fish kill.
And I think I appreciate that. And so I'm assuming then that NEPA would be relying on this site warning notice because the fact that the Wisynco officer signed as having received that there was a discharge of untreated trade effluent into the environment via burst pipe. You're saying that in NEPA's view, that alone, under the provision of the Wildlife Protection Act, should constitute an offense.
Yes, and yes, yes, we are saying that, but we also believe that the public interest could be served if we had actually brought the entire case right through the process. And we also believed that what could have also happened as well is that if there were any doubts, the relevant Wisynco officers could have been placed on the witness stand under oath and the relevant information obtained if needed.
It sounds like you're saying you think the DPP's office dropped it prematurely then, Mr. Francis.
Well, as I said to you before, I believe this DPP office persons, they are very experienced. They're actually helping to train us. They're actually helping to train us. Our concern actually arose from the fact that when I was listening to Nationwide this morning, I listened to other newscasts, watching the social media, the impression was given that we did not follow procedure, we did nothing,
yes,
we never
Jet,
conducted any tests.
Jet says you all are a disgrace.
So I'm here today not to discuss if it should be dropped, yes or no. I'm here to point that we did our part in the process. And I would like to categorically deny that we never did any tests. The evidence is here. We did 3 tests. From the lab, there are 2. The lab actually gave us 2 results because the 2 sites that were looked on were close to each other. So we got Crub Erin Bridge and Bardyke Road, and the facts are here. We have 4 witness statements from 4 NEPA officers, and we have photographs showing the broken pipe. We have all of that data, and it's right here on the file. We have also the licenses granted that tells us what is expected to go through the pipe to the waste treatment plant. And all I'm trying to say here is this. There was a broken pipe, and it was actually putting waste into the river. There were dead fish, although there's no need for our fish to die for you to prosecute. And we are also saying, though, that we would like to put it to the public out there and put to you that we did our due diligence, we followed the processes, and we felt that we were unfairly treated in terms of how the media has portrayed us.
All right. Leonard Francis, CEO of NEPA. Thank you so much. We're hoping to be joined by the DPP perhaps tomorrow to get how it unfolded. But
because certainly, Ricardo, it's now clear that NEPA is pointing the fingers at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Even though Mr. Francis doesn't want to directly say that, but he's definitely saying NEPA did their part. All right. So that's the cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Traffic is currently being diverted through Greenwich Acres and Steertown in St. Anne. Motorists heading westerly will be diverted through the Greenwich Acres housing scheme onto Steertown Main Road to the Draxhall intersection and onto the AGR Byfield Main Road. Motorists traveling easterly will follow a similar route in reverse. This as law enforcement cordoned off the area to facilitate an investigation. It's understood a taxi driver and his passenger were shot and killed just before 2 p.m. after gunmen posing as passengers opened fire on them at point-blank range. The killers then fled the scene. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is urging vulnerable Jamaicans to make use of the government's $1 billion solidarity program now in effect.
There might be some who will criticize the program and say, it's only $20,000 and it's one-off. That is where they don't understand the program. So this is what is described as a conditional cash transfer. It is conditional on the person receiving the transfer to become formally registered in the social safety net so that you can continue with formal benefits over time directly. We encourage everyone who falls in the categories, please reach out to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Under Solidarity, one-time cash grants of $20,000 will be provided to 50,000 eligible Jamaicans. To be eligible, individuals should not be beneficiaries of any existing social welfare programs. Dr. Holness says the program is not an empty promise.
There are those who are thinking, hey, this is an election program. This program was announced in November, but it was thought about at the same time when we did the reverse tax credit and funded. So this is not a promise. This is funded. This is in the budget. It took us some time to roll out how it will be done so that we don't end up with issues of, people trying to get, but the program doesn't work because the administrative issues weren't sorted out. So we took the time to work out those issues. So once the minister declares the program as live, then everyone should be able to participate.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The Integrity Commission is citing a landmark ruling by the Supreme Court last year, affirming its authority to request information from financial institutions. The written judgment was provided on Tuesday. The judgment comes as the Integrity Commission Act is being reviewed by parliamentarians. One concern raised as part of the deliberations is the Commission's ability to demand information from third parties in furtherance of an investigation. Siobhan Campbell reports.
In the decision delivered on January 17, 2024, the Supreme Court ruled that financial institutions must comply with lawful requests from the Integrity Commission for information regarding the financial affairs of public officials. The ruling arose from a legal dispute between the Commission and Berita Investments Limited and centered on the interpretation of Section 7 of the Integrity Commission Act, particularly the extent of the duty to cooperate with the Commission. The case began when the Integrity Commission requested information from First Global Bank, FGB, and Berita Investments to verify statutory declarations submitted by parliamentarians and public officials. These requests included details such as account balances, account opening dates, and account status. While FGB eventually complied voluntarily, Berita declined, citing obligations of client confidentiality under the common law, the Securities Act, and the constitutional rights to privacy. Berita also questioned whether the Director of Information and Complaints at the Commission had the authority to make such a request, suggesting instead that a court order was necessary. The Commission, however, maintained that under Section 7 of the Integrity Commission Act, Berita was legally required to cooperate and that such cooperation did not require a court order. The matter was taken to court to resolve the issue. In his judgment, Justice Chester Stamp found that the meaning of the word cooperate in the Act was unambiguous and should be understood in its natural and ordinary sense to work together with or assist the Commission in fulfilling its statutory functions. He ruled that Berita had a mandatory obligation to provide the information requested as part of the Commission's function to examine and verify statutory declarations. The Permanent Secretaries Board, a grouping of the nation's chief accounting officers, has called for the Joint Select Committee reviewing the Integrity Commission Act to limit the body's powers. They're suggesting that the Integrity Commission must seek the individual's permission before requesting information from a third party or request a court order. However, the anti-corruption body says the ruling has come at a critical time when Section 7 of the IC Act is being reviewed by the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Opposition spokesperson on global logistics Anthony Hilton says the Holness administration alone is not to be credited for the economic stability the country is now enjoying. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Wednesday, Mr. Hilton says the JLP has benefited from the economic groundwork laid by the previous PNP government.
This is a government that has had more resources available to than any other government in recent time because of the policies and strategies begun in the PNP administration and carried over into this administration. I was part of an administration that made tremendous effort to right this economy and to get the fiscal laws in place, to get the economy on track. In fact, like Sandiford in Barbados, we paid a political price for the fiscal tightness and what we did, and Peter Phillips and Portia Simpson must be congratulated. The people of Jamaica more so sacrificed a tremendous amount. And no one can claim that this is all due to them alone.
Anthony Hilton, opposition spokesman on global logistics. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is that
For
on
more
my TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org.
Here, yeah, baby.
QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor figure check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deepfake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling you give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
The name you trust to be your friend, to be a partner by your side. For generations we have been the one you trust as your financial guide. Sagicor, building trust for generations, helping hopes and dreams to grow, building our nation. Sagicor's the name you know. Sagicor.
Sagicor, celebrating 55 years.
Building trust for generations.
Wellington Dental believes that a smile tells 1,000 words. They are dedicated to giving their patients high-quality dental care, offering a full range of dental services so all of your family's needs are met under one roof. Fillings, extractions, crowns, bridges, and much more. They also accept patients using wheelchair. Visit Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town's premier dental provider. Call them today at 876-749-3515.
Stay cool and save energy with the perfect ceiling fan for every room at prices you'll love. At Active Home Center, we've got fans to fit every space and every budget. From affordable options to premium designs with energy-efficient DC motors. Whether it's your bedroom, living room, or patio, there's a fan for every corner of your home. Hurry in for deep discounts on select fans while stocks last. Shop fans at Active Home Center in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. 14 wickets fell for 237 runs on Wednesday's opening day of the first cricket test between West Indies and Australia at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. Jaden Seals and Shamar Joseph together claimed 9 of those wickets as Australia choosing to bat were dismissed for 180. Usman Khawaja, 47, and Travis Head, 59, shared in a 4th wicket stand of 89 to provide the only real Australian resistance as Seals ended with 5 for 60 and Joseph 4 for 46. The West Indies reply started poorly. The former captain Craig Brathwaite 3 and John Campbell on his test return 7 were back in the pavilion shortly after they went out to bat. Informed Casey Carty 20 and the vice captain that is, Joe Milwarken 0, followed within 2 balls of each other, so close to the end of play as Mitchell Stark took 2 for 35 and there was a wicket apiece for captain Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. Seals, who was taking his 3rd 5-wicket haul in tests, says the wicket played a part in his performance.
Yeah, it was a bit slower than the Australians would be expecting, especially. And it worked in our favour with them playing a lot balls that they didn't have to and playing with hard hands so the edges would carry.
Jaden Seals, Brandon King on test debut, was not out 23 at close with him as captain, Rustin Chase on 1. The battle for spots on Jamaica's team to the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan in September and other global and continental championships gets underway in earnest on Thursday, the opening day of the J3's 4-day national trials at the National Stadium. The championship opens at 9 a.m. with the senior men's 100 meters qualification. The quarterfinals are set for later in the evening, along with those of the women, featuring Shelley and Fraser Price in her final appearance at these championships. In addition to the hundreds, the opening day will also feature action in the 800 meters men and women, the 400 meters hurdles, and the flat 400 meters. President of the J3's Garth Gale told Nationwide Sports that he is looking forward to watching the country's best athletes battle it out over 4 days.
Every race, every throwing event, jump, throw, will be, watched with great expectation. And so we want our athletes to be able to continue to do well. And hence the reason why we chose the date. The earlier, the better. And so they now can concentrate on going to earn and to improve their performances as they get ready for Tokyo.
President of the J3's Garth Gale. A record 720 athletes have entered for the championships, up from 647 who took part last year. Nationwide 90 FM will have coverage of the championships with live commentary of all the evening sessions starting on Friday around 6:30 in time for the semi-finals of the 100 meters. Jamaica's Olympic Games shot put bronze medalist Rajendra Campbell says he was not among the Jamaican athletes who had a stream of financial contribution from the J3As. During Monday's launch of the National Senior and Junior Championships, J3A's treasurer Ludlow Watts says over the past decade, the association shelled out over $100 million. In fact, to be exact, he said $104 million in financial support. However, Campbell, in talking with the Coach's Desk podcast, highlighted at least 2 occasions in 2024 in which he was given a stipend.
They gave me $500 and something February while I was in Madrid. At the time we came in, I was grateful. I said, all right, if this is consistent, I can make it work a little bit. March, it came in March. April, nothing. May, nothing. June, nothing. So, all right, cool. I went to, when I was in Stuttgart at the training facility, I went to Mr. Watts and I showed him my bank account and said, sir, I am down bad. I need some help. He gave me $700. All right? Mm-hmm. All the stipend that we got for being at the training camp went back into my bills.
Rajendra Campbell there, and he says the athletes who live and train in Jamaica are the ones who get the lion's share of the J3 funding.
All right, so what they didn't understand is like, yes, people make it seem like, at the end of the day, when we are training, it's, this is Jamaica represent Jamaica, and it's, this is to the sport. Yeah. So why you guys upset what I actually do with my talent? Like, and they address the fact they say, we benefit from the system. Most of the athletes that you can say benefit from the system are the ones still in Jamaica. Everybody that take the opportunity to leave and come over here and make something of themselves. One is a chance they come to school, they can get injured. In 2022, I was injured. I couldn't throw. Nobody would have heard about me. It's not like they're making an effort to say, let's help these athletes. No, everybody, and idea when championship come around, they celebrate. Yeah. As soon as championship is over, nothing. So I understand there's a lot of Jamaican that is hurt by it, and I must apologize. But at the same time, when I get told, when I get younger.
Campbell is one of 4 Jamaican athletes who have started the process of switching allegiance to Turkey. Olympic champion Roger Stoner, silver medalist Wayne Pinnock, and the triple jumper Jaden Hibbert are the others making the switch to Turkey. National football team coach Steve McLaren says the team is not as good as it thinks following their early elimination from the CONCACAF Gold Cup in the USA. The Jamaicans crashed out at the group stage of the tournament for the first time in 16 years on Tuesday night after a 4-1 defeat to Panama in their final Group C game in Texas. Ismail Diaz scored a first-half hat-trick to steer Panama to the impressive win and to group honours. Amarai Bell got Jamaica's consolation. Jamaica now has a 3-month break before getting back into action in September for the final round of World Cup qualifying, and McLaren is warning that no player is a sure pick in his squad.
Despite the results and everything, this has been just what we needed to see. It's a wake-up call. People who think they're comfortable in this squad, we've all had a wake-up call of what we can do and what we can't do. We've got 6 of the biggest games of our lives ahead of us, and there's failures, but you always learn lessons from it. I've learned so many.
Steve McLean, Guatemala took second place in the group after beating Guadeloupe by 3-2. And finally, in sports at this time, Luis Rubiales, the former president of Spain's Football Federation, has lost an appeal against his sexual assault conviction. Rubiales was fined €10,800 in February for kissing the captain, Jenny Hermoso, without her consent after Spain's women's team won the 2023 World Cup. A Spanish appeals court upheld the fine and also dismissed a separate appeal from prosecutors who had sought a retrial and pushed for a jail sentence. The incident in which Rubiales grabbed Hermoso's head and kissed her on the lips triggered protests and calls for his resignation. He denied the sexual assault charge, describing the kiss as an act of affection and completely spontaneous. On Wednesday, the appeals court said it did not consider the kiss consensual and said Hermoso had objected to it from the outset. It found that Rubiales restrained himself when interacting with the other players and could have also done so without too much effort with the captain. At the original trial, Hermoso said she had not given permission for the kiss, which she felt disrespected her and stained one of the happiest days of her life. Now, sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Sharing the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat back a figure, trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them, and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slibe Road, Kingston. And Lot C6 Jackson, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. It's midweek, Wednesday, June 25. Yeah, coming closer and closer to the end of another month. Thank you so much for joining. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Big up on yourself. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. It's something that we've been talking about from last week, maybe the week prior. Yeah? Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association J3A's President Garth Gale says he's saddened by the decision of 4 Jamaican athletes who've switched allegiance to Turkey. Like I said, we've been talking about it, especially on social media. Olympic discus champion and record holder Roger Stoner, Paris shot put bronze medalist Rajendra Campbell, world and Olympic long jump silver medalist Wayne Pinnock, and a triple jump star Jaden Hibbert have all decided to wear the colors of the West Asian country. Dum dum dum. Gale was speaking to Nationwide Sports.
Very saddened. Saddened because these are Jamaicans who would have attended school. They understand the good and bad of Jamaica. But they know Jamaica is caring, and to now go into a new area, a new hemisphere, so to speak, where you won't be able to be close to family members, must have been a hard decision for them.
Garth Gale, J3A's president. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're carrying on with the conversation. We're asking you, what's your reaction to 4 Jamaican athletes switching allegiance to Turkey? Yeah? That's the question we're asking. I'll start real quick with the comments on our X platform. Not a lot. Elder Kwan is saying Jamaican government has always loved the hype and the glory the athletes bring, but they don't love the athletes enough to take care of sponsorship. Let the people do what they need for their career and family, just like any other underpaid, undermined, skilled professional would. Aurelius is saying it is what it is. Money off a mech. Yeah? On our Facebook platform, Prince Wellington saying prosperity cause it. Police run, teacher run, nurses run, farm workers run off, and no athletes foot in full effect. I see what you did there, Prince Wellington. The athletes running off. Yeah, got that. Prosperity now proved to be going on well. Yeah, he's saying prosperity now proved to go on well, not at all. Yeah, Denval Mullings, athletes is these individuals present means of earning an income. So just the same way as teachers, tradesmen, etc., choose to ply their trade overseas for bigger financial gains, it's the same thing with these athletes. Yeah. O'Neill Dennis saying people will choose to go to greener pastures. Jamaica can't compete with the bigger nations for resources. And besides, the athletes have to look at their future financially. So it's not an easy decision to make, but their future takes precedence over everything else. Carlington Bartley telling us, when you're competing for Jamaica, it's like in the days of old when Israel would not go into battle without the Ark of the Covenant, which give them confidence of victory. Wow. Michael Vaughn saying allegiance can't put food on anybody's table. Go where your service has some value. Yeah. Judith Thorpe, as long as they are not making a uniform decision, an uninformed, rather, I don't know where I get that from. Come again. Judith Thorpe is saying, as long as they're not making an uninformed decision and they see where they can go and earn so that they can live their best life, nothing is wrong. Change is good. They will experience a whole new culture. Yeah. They're excising freedom of choice, says Wesley Cunningham. Every heart know their own bitterness. I heard this while growing up, coming from Audrey Allen. Every heart know their own bitterness. He who feels it knows it. Hope the authorities or powers that be take sleep and mark debt. And we as Jamaicans, we all know what them something I mean. Oral Daily saying the Prime Minister said it best. An athlete's life is expensive and they have to feed their families. Hepburn Davis, we need them, but they need the money more. Yeah. Rodney Williams, God has given us all the power of choice. Choose as you please. To the question, what's your reaction to 4 Jamaican athletes switching allegiance to Turkey? Sean Ribba is saying, not surprised. Prosperity was the mantra, but it was only for a few. Nobody going to be patriotic in the midst of so much stealing. Edney Powell, no problem. We will continue to produce world-beating athletes, and furthermore, they're not sprinters. Let them go on. Although the country needs to know the Adidas deal versus the Puma deal. Natalie Winter say, to be frank, you give me no money. What do you expect? Yeah, Philip Jackson, not good. Not good at all that we have 4 Jamaican athletes switching allegiance to Turkey. But we can say all we want. People often walk on character in the name of money. The fact that another country can use their financial muscle and take away other countries' athletes, it tells you that integrity comes second. Money make the mayor run. Yeah. All right, what's your reaction to 4 Jamaican athletes switching allegiance to Turkey? Let me go on quick on our Instagram platform before I touch YouTube. Magnificent Mitch is saying all the very best to them. I Sprint believes the money off a make. Aubin is saying better for them. No matter what we offer, there will always be a better off, says Showa Chuck. Yeah, just hope and pray that they will never need Jamaica for anything again. Plus, they can go live in Turkey. Also, and if you want to come with the BS under my comment, I'm going to bring it back. Okay, all right. Big up yourself, G Money, saying he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Sherry Buns, distasteful of Turkey. Why not invest in their own or take second-tier athletes and coach them to become top-tier? Hey, it's Lady Cutchinson believes that it's much ado about nothing. Sports is a business, and neither national pride nor patriotism can pay their bills. Yeah. All right, let me see what's happening on our YouTube platform. What are you saying? Money half a mech, says Robert McKenzie right off the bat. Money half a mech. Everton Greensword is saying other people. Let me see if I can get that one. I think it gone all the way up. Let me see. Other people for better pay, but did they switch allegiance? I mean, wait, 1, 2, 3. Why I keep on losing it, man? Yeah, did they switch allegiance? Stop mixing the things that they're not the same. Well, if they start not running for Jamaica anymore, Ralston Stewart said persons who are saying the government should do more should also be willing to pay a sports tax. Sports is a big business. Not even USA nor safe in this era as oil money talk. Everyone's reality is different. Sprinters are better financially compensated, so I can't blame someone for pursuing the best opportunity available to them, says Miss Chin. Why is now they're talking about these athletes? They're nothing new. It's nothing new, says Liliana. Let me see if I can get in a few more. Athletes always switch allegiance. So Liliana is saying it's nothing new. It's been happening. Marjorie G said, me not care. I don't care with exclamation mark. Athletes, let me see. Pay them more money. Carol Allen is saying pay them more money. Adidas deal, you have to get medals for money. Puma deal, medals are not. You still get money, Roxanne Wellington says. Robert McKenzie said can't pay them bills. Money makes the mare gallop, says Easy Guy. Anthony Williams believes it's a very sad day. Yeah, the fact that we've had 4 athletes, switching allegiance. He's saying it's a very sad day. The J3As needs a complete overhaul and to be turned upside down, says Neville Bennett. Period. Patriotism is something that runs deep in every person when money is involved. Yeah, money. Money off a mech, they say. Money off a mech. Once money is involved, Jamaica has no loyalty, Andre Robinson says. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion, getting the wrap-up signal. Arlene Rose said them could have gone from yesterday for all I care. Wow. Yeah. Are the athletes going to fight in the Middle East approaching war, Wallace? I do not think so. No? Jamaican government never have the resources to sponsor the athletes, says Dwight Bonner. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. That's all the time we have. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Jamaica recorded a significant decline in exports for the period January to February 2025, with spending on imports increasing compared to the corresponding period for 2024. Now, that's according to the latest report released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin. The island's total import bill for the period amounted to $1,321 million US, while export earnings totaled $306.2 million US. Import expenditure rose by 1.9% compared to the $1,297 million US recorded for the same period in 2024. The growth in imports was mainly driven by increased purchases of raw material, intermediate goods, and consumer goods, which went up by 6.2% and 9.9% respectively. In contrast, total exports declined by 8.9% compared to the $336 million US earned in the corresponding period last year. Statin attributed the fall to a sharp 41% drop in the value of exported mineral fuels. The United States of America, China, Brazil, Nigeria, and Colombia remained Jamaica's top 5 import partners during the review period. On the export side, Jamaica's leading markets were the United States, the Russian Federation, Iceland, Canada, and France. Further afield, dating app Bumble is axing almost a third of its workforce as it struggles to grow and investors sour on its prospects. In a note to staff, Chief Executive Whitney Wolfe Herd said she was responding to pressures facing the company as the dating industry faces an inflection point. Founder Ms. Wolfe Herd stepped down as boss of the firm last year, but returned in March in a bid to turn around its prospects. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 13 cents to buy $1 US, 217 Jamaican dollars and 94 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 99 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
The loan frenzy is on with Infinity Co-op Credit Union's Fund Your Possibilities loan promotion with zero to low processing fees, up to 240 months to repay, and competitive interest rates. You can borrow using a secured or unsecured loan to fund your dreams. Dream it, fund it, live it with Infinity, where possibilities are endless. Visit infinitycuja.com or call 876-926-6973 for more details. Conditions apply.
Taste it, eat it, drink it, applaud it. The 26th staging of the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards, the Caribbean's premier culinary event powered by MasterCard, takes place Thursday, June 26th on the East Lawns of King's House. Get your tickets at Starbucks at AC Marriott, Starbucks Ligny, Starbucks Waterloo, Signature Boutique, Unit 9, Legal Business Centre, 31 Upper Waterloo Road, Uncorked 2, Constant Spring Road, Uncorked Barbican, Sovereign North, Uncorked Ochi, Draxhall, Uncorked West, Fairview Shopping Centre, Resort Way by Ereline, Shop 4 Progressive Shopping Centre, Kingston, Cafe Dolce, 114 Constant Spring Road, Kingston, Fromage Bistro, 8 Hillcrest Avenue, Kingston, and of course the offices of the Jamaica Observer in Kingston and Montego Bay. Adults 18 years and over. Drink responsibly.
the gateway for Jamaica's athletes to several international competitions, including the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. Opens from Thursday, June 26 to Sunday, June 29 for the J3A National Junior and Senior Championships, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each day. The biggest names in local track and field, with the men's section including the likes of Olympic silver medalist Shane Thompson, Oblique Seville, Akeem Blake, Antonio Watson, Christopher Taylor, Rashid Broadbent, Olympic champion Roger Stoner, Rajendra Campbell, Wayne Pinna, and Romaine Beckford. The female division will be no less fascinating, with two-time reigning world champion Sharika Jackson, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, the Clayton Twins, Tia and Tina, Alana Reed, Akira Nugent, Rochelle Clayton, and Shanika Ricketts. The action will be sizzling.
Get ready for the Magic 5K Summer Run Walk presented by Lorna Auto Prep. Join us on June 29, 2025 at Lorna Auto Prep for an exciting 5K race starting at 7 a.m. It's fun, fitness, and community all in one. Early bird registration is just $1,200. Groups of 10 or more pay $1,200 each, and regular entry is $1,500. Sign up now at lornaautopprepja.com/5K. Run for health, win for life.
Get on the rum with Appleton Estate this month. Dive into the history, craftsmanship, and experience a taste of Jamaican excellence. Indulge in your favorite Appleton Estate cocktails and food pairings available at participating restaurants. Or receive a complimentary Appleton 8-year-old Reserve 200 ml when you purchase a bottle of Appleton Estate's Signature Blend 750 ml while stocks last at participating outlets. Appleton Estate. Land on the extraordinary. Follow us at Appleton Estate JA to get on the rum. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Laborites, we journey to the West Kingston Fortress for Area Council 1 meeting at the Fletcher's Land Community Centre this Sunday, June 29, 5 p.m. Come hear from JLP stalwarts Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie, who leads the charge. Hear Central St. Catherine MP Olivia Babs-Grange, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, MPs Bernal Charles Jr., Anne-Marie Vaz, Donovan Williams, Senators Abka Fitz-Henley, Delano Steve Wright, Shireen Golden Campbell, Councillor Donovan Samuels, and others. JLP active and strong with plans to make Jamaica prosper. That's Area Council 1 meeting. Sunday, June 29, Fletcher's Land Community Centre, 5 p.m. And you don't know, we choose Jamaica every time.
Taboo topics,
Bulletins after dark,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Bulletins After Dark with Kareem Bulletins each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Bulletins After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Bulletins After Dark.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM with Pepita and Honey Bee from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we broadcast live from Megamart Waterloo Friday, June 27. Pepita and Honey Bee plus Megamart equals Mega Vibes. Join us at Megamart Waterloo for all the month-end specials, excitement, entertainment, and more. Pepita and Honey Bee are doing it mega with Megamart. Don't miss the end-of-month mega specials, June edition. Come be a part of the mega broadcast with Pepita and Honey Bee, Friday, June 27, 2025 from 3 to 5 p.m. at Megamart Waterloo. Megamart, best value by far. This broadcast is brought to you by Megamart.
Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Well, the St. Catherine South Division has seen a 30% reduction in murders since the start of the year. That's according to Commanding Officer of the Division, Senior Superintendent Leighton Gray, who spoke with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness during a tour on Wednesday.
So, tell me, how are things in the area?
Well, sir, welcome first. I must welcome you back to Portmore again.
Yes.
Sir. So far, Portmore and the general St. Catherine South is doing very well in terms of our murder reduction in particular. Crime is on the down, murder, shooting is also down, and we have been doing well. We continue to enjoy the support of the citizens generally. And presently, we are 30% reduction in murders. We are 28% reduction in shootings, and overall 15% reduction in overall major crimes in the region. So we have been enjoying a very good time.
Excellent, excellent. So tell me about, just the management of the urban spaces that you have with traffic and the movement of commuters in spaces. How is that?
Well, we have been doing well. So far, with the expansion that took place in the Grange Lane space,
yes,
as also along Municipal Boulevard,
yes,
and so forth. That has eased the traffic somewhat, to the extent now that they are saying that we are pushing the traffic readily in the morning,
yes,
to 3 miles and also Marcus Garvey Drive. Yes. So we get them out very early, and so far, so good. The residents have been enjoying it well, and with possible further expansion that will take in place here, definitely we'll get further ease in terms of the traffic.
I noticed that there was a report of a young man that was fatally shot in the Portmore space. What are you noticing with young men and crime in Portmore? Is that reducing, or we are still seeing a lot of young men being involved?
Well, overall it is reducing. However, you will have youngsters still engaged. However, we met with them yesterday, the residents of Brayton,
yes,
Reedspen area.
Yes.
We had a very good meeting with the residents. And as a management of the division, we went there, have that meeting, and we are trying to make some amends, but we continue to implore on the youngsters to stay away from the life of crime and stop getting involved with criminal activities and have illegal firearms.
All right,
we have
thank
been
you.
doing well.
Thank you for the report.
Yes, sir.
Very
and
good.
I do appreciate your coming, and
Listen.
we will continue
Good.
to do well
Very
as
good.
part of the murder reduction effort.
Very good.
Nationally.
Very good. Very good.
SSP Leighton Gray there, the commanding officer for the St. Catherine South Division. He was speaking with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Now, the Minister with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan, he's saying that Susan Avenue in Southeast St. Catherine, that's one of the first roads rehabilitated under the SPARK program. He was speaking with Prime Minister Dr. Holness and the MP Robert Miller. The Prime Minister was in Portmore today.
So, Prime Minister, welcome to the soon-to-be parish of Portmore. We're here with yourself, Robert Miller, who is a Member of Parliament, P.S. Williams, who is the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Mr. Downer, Senior Executive at the National Works Agency. So this is Susan Avenue, Prime Minister. It is one of the first roads that has been completed under the SPARK program. It is 0.7 kilometers long. It took us approximately $35 million to complete. As you can see, Prime Minister, we have put in a new V-drain with curved walls there. We have at least a 3-inch asphalt overlay. The road has already been marked for the safety. There are some minor touches taking place as we ensure that the road is done at the quality, the international standard that we expect. So the contractor is obligated to remove all debris from this work site that may be on person's property or may be on the road. The contractor is also obligated to ensure that the surface of the road is of such a quality that it can pass the consultant's tests. So those are things that we're gonna observe as we continue with the construction of the SPARK roads across the island. The contractor for this road is China Harbour Engineering, who were the ones who won the enterprise contract. So we're proud to bring you here, Prime Minister, to see one of the first SPARK roads that we're finished, to see the quality and the difference that the SPARK roads are making in communities.
Thank you, Minister. MP, you want to say how happy you are? I saw some of your constituents walking by, and they were quite pleased, especially little kids moving quite easily on the road.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I want to thank you and Minister Morgan. PM, welcome both of you to the constituency of Southeast St. Catherine. As Minister stated earlier, that it cost the taxpayers $35 million. On behalf of the citizens of Southeast St. Catherine, I want to thank the government of Jamaica for this gesture. It's indeed impacting life in the Edgewater division on Susan Avenue and Edgewater Avenue. As I realize, there's 2 areas that were done, and I believe it was done well and in good order. I want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of Jamaica, and it has created a problem in which a lot of persons are using the thoroughfare as Dover, but we'll use the opportunity to beseech to the residents to there are children at play, and we encourage them to use the area responsibly. Yes. Thank you very much on behalf of the government of Jamaica.
Prime Minister, one of the important aspects of the Spark program is that every single Spark road comes with a 1-year defects liability period. If anything should happen to this road that could be considered to be caused by the actions or omissions of the contractor, then the contractor is obligated to fix this road at no cost to the government. We do not expect that to happen because we have consultants who are independent of the contractors, who are observing the construction of the road at every stage. The soil has been tested, the asphalt has been tested, the concrete has been tested. So this is a high quality road that will last the residents an average of 7 to 10 years before we have to repair it again.
Robert Morgan there, the Minister with Responsibility for Works, giving an update to the Prime Minister on Susan Avenue in Portmore. You know, Sanjay, as I listened to the exchanges just now, I was thinking to myself, how important, and I'd love to hear on this, how important do you think this matter of road repairs? Government spending perhaps the most, certainly in recent memory, on road repairs, upwards of $40 billion to repair the roads. And I'm wondering to myself, how impactful, how will that play in the minds of voters when they go to the polls? What do you think?
Yeah, you know, Ricardo, I remember in November, December, there was a conversation about the misery index and complaints that individuals in different communities stated, and critical they would talk about is roads, water. Those are the two most impactful things you hear people talk about. Yeah. To let's say extent crime.
Yeah.
And it is important because people want to see things happening. And what is possible, my issue may not necessarily be yours. But when individuals can see a road actually being fixed, and maybe a road that has been in a deplorable condition for many years, it plays on the mind and the minds and the psyche of those in that community. It's very important. And you will recognize too, Ricardo, when that polling was done late last year, and when you compare that to this year, that was done, you see the difference in some of those very constituencies where they had the road issues, the water problem that has been spoken about for a long time.
Yeah. Well, the Prime Minister used the occasion to underscore the importance of the government's road rehabilitation programs.
Thank you, Minister. So this is my first visit to a Spark road that has been completed. By now, you should have close to 100 roads under varying stages of rehabilitation.
That's correct, sir.
And close to completion. You probably should have about 30 roads.
We have about 20 roads that are almost complete, meaning this marl has been laid and compressed and we're waiting for asphalt. We have probably another 30 that are at varying stages where we have finished the majority of the work on the road. We have put in drains and so on. We have finished about 17 roads so far, Prime Minister. And we have approximately 100 roads under construction at this time. Excellent. We expect by the mid-August, we'll have about 130 roads under construction. And by the end of the year, we'll probably be constructing some complete, some not, probably 160 roads.
Yeah. So it's important to make a big deal of this.
Yes.
Because the commitment of the government to spend $45 billion on road repairs would be the largest commitment of any government in the history of Jamaica on the repair and rehabilitation of local and main roads. This is quite separate from the building of highways. So if you take highways out of it, this would be the largest expenditure on the roads that run past your gate, essentially. Now, in the initial concept, the idea was only to focus on the road itself, meaning the subbase and the asphalt, sidewalks, and the proper drainage. But as we discovered when we were doing the South Coast Road Improvement Project, that you can't really consider a road only for cars or for pedestrian. The road carries the water mains, it carries the sewer mains, it carries the telecommunication conduits, and other sensors. So you have to build a utility corridor and all the roads under Spark are built to some variation of a full utility corridor. In Portmore, because there is an issue with sewage, and most of Portmore is connected to some form of sewage, that there is provision for the replacement or installation where possible and necessary of sewage, in addition to the installation and repair of the water mains. So this road, for example, we had to do some repairs to water mains. Now, you're not going to be able to immediately see the impact of the Spark program nationally, because it is just in its initial phases, and 100 roads within 27,000 kilometers of roadways that need to be repaired. It will take some time for it to reach to the threshold where every citizen can say, I see this program with some impact. Now, bear in mind that the Spark program is not a patching program. So the government of Jamaica could have decided that we're going to spend $45 billion and patch roads. It probably could patch maybe 70% of the roads that need to be patched. But you know what happens with patching. Within a year or 2 years, you have to go and patch again. So this is what we call capital works. And these kinds of works are far more involved. So literally, this is a new road. It's built to a different standard, at least 3 inches of asphalt on the top. The sub-base is built to a different standard. If you look on the road, you will notice that it has what is called a camber, meaning that there's a curvature in the surface of the road that channels the water to the side. There is the V-drain. The road is established with a V-drain and with proper curb walls. And some roads even have sidewalks, retaining walls, slip roads, and other forms of road furniture put in place to ensure safety and convenience in traveling. So this will benefit the people of this community. There are other roads running perpendicular and parallel that are in need of repair, but maybe not to the state where they need to be totally rehabilitated. So those roads, I'm sure the Member of Parliament will use his allocation strategically and wisely, and he will continue to call myself and the Minister to see if he can get more, but which is what the MPs do in terms of advocating for the residents. So we do have a program, and that is what we should take away, and the program is working. Over time, we will get to all the roads as our budget allows, but have faith, your road is coming under the Spark program.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness there. You know, Sanjay, the Prime Minister is on a opening ribbon cutting blitz, you know.
Yes.
He was at an opening yesterday. He was in Portmore. He did a solidarity program today. So it seems to me anyway, that we're
almost reached that place.
Right. We're getting closer and closer and closer. I know everybody is speculating. Everybody's trying to read the tea leaves to see if they can fall on the date. What do you think? When do you think we're going to hear the call?
Ricardo, initially I think we had said September, October last year when we were talking. It seems to me that it may very well be just before the end of summer. That's my thinking. Yeah.
So
but
sometime in August.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, based on how we're seeing, as you indicated, the Prime Minister doing those blitz, which is important in any election. Yeah. I suspect it may be about that time. But of course, we know the Prime Minister is the only one who will know the date. Yeah. But I want to say something though, Ricardo, before you move on. That Spark.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister was spot on in indicating it's not just about patching roads, because for a very long time, we have been doing that with community roads. We're doing the patch, and then a year or two later, we have to go back to do the very thing that was done. I like how they have reformed this idea of rehabilitating community roads, but not only just fixing the roads, but ensuring that you're putting the necessary drainage in place, whatever underground water line that needs to be upgraded. That is a comprehensive program.
Yes.
And in any government, they could have just utilized that funds and just do patchwork. And as the Prime Minister indicated, you could patch way more roads, but then 2 years later down the line, you have to go back and do the same thing. So we have to commend the government for this Spark program.
Yeah, and the way I see it, because I admit that most of how I think about these things now is in the context of how voters are perceiving them. Because, there's a way in which political parties, governments, you do a lot, you get to the election, and sometimes unpredictable things happen, yeah? And you say to yourself, boy, but they were doing so well, why would the electorate reject them? And the way I see it now is that the JLP is on the offensive in terms of putting out all that they think are the positives that should commend them to the electorate. And I find myself wondering whether they need to be more... Obviously, the offensive is important because if you have a record, you ought to run on it. That's what, the principle says. But to also be on the defensive, because there is so much... If you just immerse yourself, Sanjay, listeners, in the YouTube communities, the Facebook communities, the TikTok communities, sometimes on X, Instagram, there is so much insidious disinformation, misinformation, outright lies. And I as an academic matter, I actually want to study it. I do, just as an academic matter. But outside of that, I'm wondering if there doesn't need to be active countering of that. Yeah? And it's a part of how the political communication has changed. I don't know that you can just put out the positives without countering the tsunami and avalanche of negativity that's out there.
Yeah, and you're correct, Ricardo. You have to ensure that there is active countering of the misinformation within the political space, because we have to understand, and social media has amplified that problem. Yeah. So it is important that the government and whomever utilize that space to provide that information to individuals, but not only utilize the social media space, but you have to get into those communities. Those individuals who are not necessarily on social media, but the misinformation is also given to them. And to provide the correct information. That's how it has to be done.
Yeah. Well, it's 7:01. We're going to go to the break, but just before the break, an important public service announcement from the Transport Authority. The authority's office located at 107 Maxfield Avenue will be closed at 2 p.m. on Thursday, June 26, 2025. Regular office hours will resume on Friday, June 27, 2025 at 7:30 a.m. The Transport Authority apologizes for any inconvenience caused. That was an important public service announcement from the Transport Authority. We take the break, come back with more.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected. The Faculty of Law at the UWI Mona invites you to their 11th annual symposium under the theme Law and Justice in the Caribbean, Pathways to Development. Saturday, June 28 and Sunday, June 29 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, or attend online. CLPD credits available. Hear riveting discussions on AI, digitization and the law, gender sexual harassment and ethics, environmental and climate justice, CARICOM law, and the CCJ. Register now at www.mona.uwi.edu/law or call 876-550-2680.
The name you trust to be your friend, to be a partner by your side. For generations we have been the one you trust as your financial guide. Sagicor. celebrating 55 years. Building trust for generations.
Jamaica, it's live and direct back again. Saturday, June 28th, live in concert. Brian McKnight.
Hey everyone, it's Brian McKnight.
And Drew Hill.
It's your boy Cisco and Drew Hill.
Taking place at the Constant Spring Golf Club. Get your tickets now. Sponsored by Supreme Ventures Limited, Courtly Hospital Group, Mothers, Island Grill, CPJ, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, Hertz, Budget Car Rental, Mayberry Investments, and main event. It's live and direct. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. at the Constant Spring Golf Club.
June 28th, Kingston. I'll see you there.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
The race to 32. Nationwide 90 FM's coverage of the 2025 general elections. Coming soon.
Taboo topics. Voyagings after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Voyagings After Dark with Kareem Voyagings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Voyagings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Voyagings After Dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Jamaica, it's live and direct back again. Saturday, June 28th, live in concert. Brian McKnight.
Hey everyone, it's Brian McKnight.
And Drew Hill.
It's your boy Cisco and Drew Hill.
Taking place at the Constant Spring Golf Club. Get your tickets now. Sponsored by Supreme Ventures Limited, Courtly Hospital Group, Mothers, Island Grill, CPJ, J. Ray and Nephew Limited, Hertz, Budget Car Rental, Mayberry Investments, and main event. It's live and direct. Gates open at 7 p.m. Showtime 8 p.m. at the Constant Spring Golf Club.
June 28th, Kingston. I'll see you there.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's 8 minutes after 7. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Well, a group of students from the Division of the Applied Undergraduate Studies in the School of Professional Studies at New York University are here on the island researching Jamaica's tourism industry. Their study tour to the country will examine the Rastafarianism as a cultural identity and its impact on tourism, the Spice Isles, the Jamaican flavor, and the profile investigating culinary tourism as a pull factor. And they're also looking on crafting musical complementaries to expand Jamaica's tourism offerings. Well, two of those students join us now. They are Latavia Latti and we have Giovanni Espinal. And we're also being joined by their chaperone, which is Dr. Donna Kelly.
So I'm told Dr. Kelly is actually the lecturer. She's the lecturer. Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing well. Good evening, Latavia. Good evening, Giovanni.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. You guys are exciting. I'm going to start with the taste profile because this is interesting to me. The Jamaican flavor profile investigating culinary tourism as a pull factor. First of all, what is culinary tourism?
I would say culinary tourism focuses on the gastronomy and the cuisine within a certain branch. And within our primary focus, we're specifically focusing on Jamaica.
All right, hold on. Let's just fix the microphone. Let me get Giovanni to answer that while we sort out the microphone. Giovanni, what's culinary tourism?
Culinary tourism is basically tourism for the sake of trying foods, things that people like to eat. And I think it's one of the more popular reasons for tourism, especially because, as people, the one thing we all have in common is that we all eat. So getting to experience what that's like for other cultures is very, educational, I guess.
And you're studying it because you think that that's part of what pulls people to Jamaica?
Yes. Yeah. We think it's a huge pulling factor for why people may want to visit Jamaica.
Yeah. Dr. Kelly, what else have you found about the product, the tourism product, that you'd consider unique? Because I know a lot of people say, okay, we have about the product, and that's special to us. What else have you found that's unique?
Well, I think Jamaica is a unique destination, to use your word, and also very exciting. And there are many elements that we are already utilizing in our tourism product. So, for example, wellness tourism. And I believe there's so much that we could do, for example, with the Bath area in St. Thomas. Yes. Yeah. So that could, really pull in a significant number of travelers. And when we talk about tourism, we're really looking at motivations and interests that persons may have that can pull them to a destination. So wellness can be one that I believe Jamaica can take more advantage of. Also, medical tourism. We do that in, I think a small way, but again, that can be better organized and expanded. And as we have gone across Jamaica, so we started in Montego Bay and we have now arrived in Kingston. There's one form of tourism that I don't believe we're exploiting enough, and it's called regenerative tourism. And so this is where you have visitors coming to the destination and playing an active role in giving back to the destination. So, they're not just sunbathing and drinking a pina colada or in Jamaica, plant a sponge on the beach, but they're actively giving back. And we participated in regenerative tourism while we have been here. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Rock House Hotel and Spa in Negril.
No, no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they have a foundation, the Rock House Foundation, and they have a school, the Savannah Lamar Inclusive School. So this is where you have students with disabilities and students without, who would, we would call normal students, working in the same space. So they're learning and working in the same space. And I believe that's a wonderful model that can be replicated across Jamaica. So what we find are the visitors to Rock House, they actively participate in contributing and giving back. So through that foundation, the Rock House Foundation would have developed this school. So they have created an infant section to the school and a primary section. So now they are looking to break ground for the high school. So all of this is in Savannah Lamar. So we participated in that. I also have a course at New York University called Event Marketing Strategies, where in that class, I have my students create the marketing strategy around an event. And for the last 3 semesters or so, we have done an art auction. So we partner with a preschool in Manhattan, create that art, we auction that, and we have raised close to 10,000 US dollars
that's impressive.
for the Sav Inclusive. So that's a form of tourism that could be used.
And I'm pretty familiar with Westmoreland and Savannah Lamar because that's where I'm from. So I know of Rock House, and that's good work. But I want to know, Dr. Kelly, why Jamaica? How did you become interested in studying the tourism here in Jamaica and how we go about doing what we do?
Well, I'm sure my accent is not
Absolutely.
but really, I worked at the University of Technology, Jamaica for nearly 17 years, I believe, in the School of Hospitality there. That has, I've studied tourism, I've studied hospitality. And so I went to New York University again now in a faculty position in that same discipline. And I was actually approached about leading a global field intensive GFI, which is a program that the students are on. And, it really was not my doing, but it really worked out that way that Jamaica was selected. And if you're looking at tourism, really, I'm not being biased, but Jamaica, provides a great field in which to do that. The types of tourism that we have, multiple. And I believe we're a good case study for tourism.
Let's say if there's a student studying the sector, tourism sector, it's obviously very, very important to Jamaica's economy. Yes. A big deal in Jamaica. There's almost no national conversation. You don't hear something about tourism. And I wondered, what drew you to it as an area that you think was worth studying?
Well, I would say that me as a person, I admire environmental sustainability and I admire community. So when I first heard about the program, I was truly inspired with the aspirations and with the itinerary that was set. I believe that Jamaica is such a beautiful and prime location that's about within one nation, there's so many people and so many different backgrounds. And I truly felt that resonated with me and my goals and aspirations to provide more community, more positivity into the world we live in. So I would say that is what drew me to this specific program, as well as my Jamaican background.
So you've been traveling now from Montego Bay, you're in Kingston. What are some of the standout moments so far?
I would say that one of the biggest standout moments was when we visited the Sav Inclusive Primary School. Yeah. It was just truly remarkable to see all of those kids with so much love and kindness within them, especially coming from New York. I feel like that's so rare to find, especially within the youth. But to see all of them just open up and just grabbing up on us, hugging us, just talking to us, I just truly felt so inspired by them and by what the school is doing. I love the way that they're aspiring to help the students and to help build them up, because it's especially important at their age to have that groundwork so that they know that they have support and that they have community. So that has been my favorite part, just seeing those little kids. They were adorable.
And Giovanni, tourism, why did you choose to study the area?
I chose to study the area because it was a great opportunity to get a lot of like first-hand education, like a very authentic way to learn by hearing stories and history from, you know, people who've experienced it firsthand as well. And usually, like, you know, in a typical class setting, you learn based off of what the education system wants you to think instead of having access to reality, basically. And I feel like that's really important in order to really have an authentic learning experience. So that's why I decided to do the Global Field Intensive.
And Giovanni, it's important also that I ask you this. What stood out for you on this entire journey?
What stood out to me on this entire journey so far was being able to hear directly from Rastafari. That's the correct term, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
First man.
Yeah, the first man. I really enjoyed this experience, and it really stood out to me because prior to the experience, I had a few misconceptions about what the lifestyle was, and having it corrected really puts into perspective the importance of hearing from groups of people before you draw conclusions about, you know, what it means to have a certain lifestyle, and also kind of understand why, you know, there's certain like differences. Like, for example, there was a term where instead of saying dedicated, they say livicated because, you know, you don't want to have, you know, the term dead in the words that you're saying. And it kind of like it like drew a whole new level of understanding that I really appreciated.
Yeah. And let me ask you now, Doc, have you noticed any trends in how tourists are engaging with the product here in Jamaica? Because, you know, there's a conversation about whether as a sector it's exploitative, whether it's you talk about rejuvenation, but there is a conversation about whether it's extracting too much without giving back enough. Have you noticed any trends?
You know, it's very interesting because when we visited the Rastafarian indigenous village yesterday, I don't know if I can say that term on air, but
if you can't say it, you shouldn't say it.
Yeah, right. No, I'm going to use a word in the Bible. Harlotism. So they believe that it's exploitative. So you know, Ricardo, coming out of COVID, persons are looking to add meaning to life, and so, you know, there's this term, experiential travel. You find that visitors are wanting to select destinations where they can engage in an authentic setting. They can interact with I don't like the term locals. They can interact with residents and they can get a truly authentic experience. And so visitors are traveling for that. So that certainly is a trend. They want something that's meaningful and enriching. And we clearly can't, you know, discount social media in all of this. So as persons are traveling, they're posting, they are, you know, putting content out, and other persons are following that. And so coming to a location like Jamaica where they can, you know, sort of delve in this authentic experience, I believe that is something we definitely are capitalizing on. And, you know, there's some change in the marketing of the tourist board as well to ensure that it's not just the sun, sea, and sand, the 3 S's as they are known, that's been promoted, but really an enriching experience. We met with the minister this morning as well, and so that was, you know, a part of the conversation.
Go ahead, Sanjay.
And Dr. Kelly, just looking now on the academic side of things, what is the academic goal of this study tour, and will we see a study being published, or what's the end goal?
All right, so the students have, so it's not all fun and frolic, While they want to think they're on vacation, but they have an actual research project that they're working on. And so they will have a presentation when we return to, I almost say Australia, but New York, to present their findings based on the study area that they would have focused on. Sanjay, To be honest, I'm not sure how far or wide it will be published, but we will do our best to disseminate as much information as we can to, just to highlight our perspective on what we would have found in the destination.
Yeah. And Latavia, being on the ground, interacting with, if I can say, our indigenous tourism product, has that in any way enhanced your understanding of tourism theory that you'd have been learning?
Yes, I would say that just being here and to experience the country at its fullest, that definitely helps to sort of understand tourism more in the aspect of why Jamaica is very big on tourism. I think that prior to coming here, the most I knew was through like YouTube videos or just the stuff I would hear from family members or anything of that instance, but just being here on the actual island, seeing everything come to life through the communities, through the culture, the people, the music. It's just been truly amazing to experience firsthand, and that's why I believe tourism is just such a big factor in Jamaica, because you really feel it when you come here. You feel the vibes, you feel the love, you feel the inclusiveness, and it's an amazing country, and I'm just happy to be here.
Gianni, how about you? Giovanni, sorry. How about you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
No, I'm saying in terms of the application of on the ground and the theory, have you been able to bridge that?
Oh yeah, I think so. I definitely agree with what Latavia had to say about the question, because I've found that tourism is also kind of attributing to what the community of, what your destination is like. I find the community in Jamaica is very strong. It's like everybody is one big family, and it's a very welcoming energy that I really find to be very nice. Like, to be so honest, in New York, that's not very common to have as a community. Not everybody's always out there to help each other, but here you see kindness so much more often, and I feel like that really adds to kind of what tourism could kind of be about,
Yeah. Sanjay, I think Minister Bartlett and the tourist board will be happy to hear this, because the slogan, Jamaica, no problem. The two students seem to be thinking that, it absolutely is no problem.
Ricardo, Giovanni had motion sickness on the bus. We were heading...
Not this story, oh no.
Oh gosh. We're heading to Appleton.
Yeah.
And he had motion sickness.
Right.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And the bus pulled over. And out of nowhere, we saw this lady run into the side of the bus with a piece of nutmeg wrapped in hand towel to offer it.
To assist.
And so, what can I say about Jamaica?
No problem.
I still have the nutmeg.
I would also say too, as we travel throughout the parishes, I made it a habit to sort of stick out my head and just to wave to everyone. And I swear, literally everybody waves back. Even some people, they ask me, how are you? How are you doing?
Yes.
And it's just so nice to be surrounded by such positivity.
All right. So before I let you go, I have to give you the patois test. Because you've been immersed now in Jamaican culture, so you have to do the patois test. All right? So I'm going to say something, and you repeat after me, all right?
I will try.
All right, cool. Wagwan.
Wagwan.
Big up the whole Nationwide Massive.
Big up the whole of Nationwide Massive.
Fair enough. Fair enough. She can get the A-minus. Right? Well, thank you all so much, Latavia Lati and Giovanni Espinal. Yes, miss.
And just to say, hi to the other students. We have 8 other students. They're now dining. So we're heading out shortly. And Ali and Garfield, who are also team members on this study tour.
Excellent. When do you conclude?
Next Monday.
We're here for a while. All right.
I just want to quickly say shout out to De La Vega City.
Aye.
Shout out to my parents and all my loved ones. I love you all so much, and I'm just happy to be here.
May I say hi to my family as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Oh my God, my sister Brianna, I miss you so much. My brothers Jason and Alex, hello. And my dogs Lily, Milo. Oh, I miss you guys.
Latavia Lati, Giovanni Espinal, Dr. Donna Kelly, thank you all so much for joining us in studio, and I hope it goes very well and you enjoy the rest of your stay in Jamaica.
Thank you.
We will.
so much,
Trust me,
Ricardo
we
and
will.
Sanjay.
Thank you so much for having us.
Not a
Yes.
problem.
Welcome.
Bye.
We're going to take the break and go for the Watchman. And after the break, after the Watchman, it'll be time for your calls. You know the number as well, 630-9371 to 4618-8255. Soon come.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. The line between loyalty to country and personal well-being. It's all over the news. 2 of Jamaica's medal-winning athletes in international competition have defected to Turkey. Money is a powerful lure to talented athletes from a country where turkey neck and chicken back are staples in the average person's diet. 2 months ago, one of our celebrated athletes, Asafa Powell, went public with his personal feeling concerning loyalty to country versus the need for athletes to secure themselves financially. This is some of what he said in a social media post. I quote in part, "I got just country pride and all that stuff. I've never gotten anything from the country. I ran free all my life. That's not what I want my kids to do. I was offered millions of US dollars in 2000 to run for a different country. If I knew then what I know now, I would have taken it. If the support system don't change, my kid's not running for Jamaica." End quote. Asafa's remonstration came across angry, as if he had an axe to grind, and was out of character for one whose patriotism, until then, was not in question. It damaged his brand. But maybe he was really trying to sound the alarm that an avalanche that could sweep many of our less endowed athletes away was heading towards our shores. The problem is bigger than athletes' desire to be paid for representing their country and the home country's ability to pay. There are 2 underlying factors to consider. First, let's admit it. Jamaica does not approach sport generally, and athletics in particular, as an industry to invest in. The attitude of our governments towards sport has been like that of the poor man who, given the goose that laid the golden egg for a present, killed and ate it for his Christmas dinner. That must change if Jamaica is to gain greater rewards from more of our gifted sons and daughters breaking through to stardom. Second, our governments do not take seriously and have actually abandoned Vision 2030, which states Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. One, therefore, should not be surprised that in a recent Don Anderson poll on attitudes toward migration, published in the June 19 edition of The Gleaner, 71% of 18 to 24-year-olds said they would leap at the opportunity to leave Jamaica in search of greater opportunities. We're not just losing athletes, we're losing teachers, nurses, scientists, actuarial professionals. Every category needed so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. When President John F. Kennedy famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," it was in the context of the American dream, which promised each citizen invested in the vision a better and more prosperous way of life. Is there a Jamaican dream that's compelling enough to make our best minds and talents want to stay? Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
The future belongs to the bold, to those ready to realign with purpose and prosperity. Realign 2025 connects Africa and the Caribbean, where innovation meets investment. Speakers include Senator the Honorable Audrey Marks, Nigerian Ambassador Janet Olisa, David Mullings, Anthony Hilton, and Christopher Denny. For investors, access to high-potential ventures. For SMEs, funding partnerships and global market entry. June 25 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Realign with your destiny. Register now at entrapartners.com/re-align.
630-9371-461-8825. Bobby, you're first. Good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Sandra.
How are you, Bobby?
And Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
I saw your message today, sir.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Well, you know what I'm talking?
Yes, man.
And trust me, and I really keep their company until the end of the training.
Well, that's
I never leave them out at all.
That's good. That's good.
Because, you know, we are all one family.
Yes.
Yes, but based on that training, you know, I must commend the Honorable Floyd Green. Boy, he's a young, energetic minister. You know, he visited some fisher folks out in Portland today.
Yes.
And he was a bit late to come over us in Mandeville. You know, he still make it. He still make it across the country, and he came and he met with the small farmers, you know, and he outlined some other new things that they're supposed to expect shortly. But he has really announced a number of stuff for quite a few small farmers, you know, even through the company that we were today. And I tell you, I must say to you, Minister Floyd Green, because when he reached there today, you can see that he was tired, you know. And I must say to him, you know, a job well done. And to be honest, Ricardo,
yes.
Now, Ricardo and Sandra, now in this time of the political season, I am not paying no negative thought from the opposition. I must highlight the good work what this administration is doing. And I just say to all the ministers, trust me, continue keep up the good work, and trust me, there is a bright light of prosperity at the end of the tunnel for the people of Jamaica. Okay then?
All right, Bobby.
All right, Bobby.
Okay then, good.
All the best.
Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Sanjay.
Good evening, Carl.
Yeah, Sanjay, I put few questions to you tonight.
Oh, Jesus. All right, come.
You can remember which Minister of Finance have bring the biggest budget to Jamaica, biggest tax package to finance a budget.
The biggest tax package. If my memory serves me correct, that would be Omar Davies.
I think you're wrong.
I'm wrong?
Yes.
Who's that?
The biggest tax package that ever come to the parliament was 50 billion Jamaican dollar done by Peter Phillips.
Oh.
Go and check it. Go and check it. Check it.
That was just after the PNP won that election.
Thank you very much.
You're right. You're
When
right.
Porsche
Yes.
said then we'd have fixed a IMF
Yes.
deal, but within 6 weeks or something like that.
Yes. You are correct. Yes.
All right. I start off right there because from another day I have something that is troubling me. And I want to ask you, Sanjay.
Mm-hmm.
If you collect something that you don't work for, you should give it up back, not you?
Yeah.
Right.
You shouldn't even collect it in the first place.
You
You're being
shouldn't
dishonest.
collect it. All right. I asked you that question because I want to go to Peter Phillips first. Peter Phillips been sick for 3 years. So there is no contribution inside the parliament that him did for 3 years, but he was collecting a salary. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you.
I hear you.
But he was collecting a salary. He couldn't come to the parliament to do my business that he was sent there for. But he collect a salary for it. And when he see him opportunities, he went to the hero circle in the boiling sun for 6:30. Me have to turn on AC a morning time to a time hot. And he could down the SM and demonstrate. Then collecting something off a false pretend.
No, you should
Tell me why me is wrong.
You should withdraw that.
I withdraw. Well, in collecting salary of not going to the parliament then.
Which is allowed under the rules of the House of Representatives.
Yes, if you're sick.
Yes, and he was diagnosed
If you're
with cancer.
sick and cannot go to the parliament.
And he was diagnosed with cancer, yes.
Well, but so he never diagnosed with cancer.
And I'm also not prepared, Carl, to discuss Dr. Phillips's medical situation. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not discussing that, Ricardo.
Then
I would never do something like
so
that.
what are you discussing?
Ricardo, he was collecting a salary,
Yes.
which he cannot go to the parliament for 3 full years.
Uh-huh.
But he could go to Hero Circle in a boiling sun and demonstrate.
Yes.
So, same like how he could go to Hero Circle. If I'm 1 day out of the 3 years, he could go to the parliament.
Okay.
And do my business that the tax collect from me to pay him.
Uh-huh. Next point.
Next point. I heard Hilton today. Well, sometimes you have to wonder what is wrong with these PMP. They don't want to give the government no praises for bringing down crime. But they want whatever happening in Jamaica, the good things that are happening in Jamaica, it must share between them and the government. Did they listen to him today?
No, I didn't.
He said the government alone must not get any praise. So if the finance of the country was going the wrong way, he wouldn't want no praise out of it now. Just like how they cannot accept that the government did a good job in bringing down crime. Are you see where I'm going?
I hear you on that. But it's the nature of the politics though, Carl, and let us be fair. Regardless of which political party in office, they tend to celebrate the good things and point to the respective agencies or government bodies that did the work, and not so much the government in office. And when the bad things happen, it's pointed to whomever the administration is. Isn't that typical of our politics?
All right. I don't know if you listened to Mr. Damian Crawford. I think it was Monday evening. Then see when we come home and me went for a voice note, which me have fun really listening. Some things are fight with Darrell Vaz and that kind of things. I was still waiting upon him because he claimed to say him is the brightest person in Jamaica, but he must figures he's worse than a 2-year-old child concerning the new bus them that will be coming.
Also,
you know, say, Ricardo and Sanjay. You know, I asked Ricardo from other day, and Ricardo dodging around the question. Keep dodging and say me put him in a trouble. Ricardo, where is the, if them should form a government, where would you make a cabinet from?
From the representatives in the lower and the upper house?
The lower and the upper house. When you look for Hanover, come right into Kingston. From the leader, because him all a name person when I come from St. Elizabeth, we in St. Mary. How could you have a country put into them in their hand? You know, say destruction. You know, say we'd have gone worse than back in the 90s.
So, I have a question for you now before we go. When do you think the election is going to be called?
Well, one person have that.
We know that, man, but I'm sure you must have some inside information and getting the tea leaves.
Well, I heard you say it's set in August.
You don't think of August?
Listen, me hear you say.
No, I'm asking you now if you agree with me.
I heard you said it in August, so I don't know if you
I'm onto something.
Than me.
So what are you hearing?
Me said them a call Miss Elliot take Ardley Shaw constituency auntie already up there. And then me hear one full comrade. One full comrade. Say the lady I buy 50 jump out of her salary. And one full comrade up there attack how the lady must be investigated. Calling the Auditor General for the lady then. That's what you must do, comrade. What stupidness are you talking about? This lady is not handling taxpayer money, none at all. So whatever she should be doing is out of her salary. And if she feels to give 50 workers of our constituency to make them be happy, what is wrong with that?
All right. Thank you, Carl. Richie, good evening.
Good evening, sirs.
Good evening, Richie.
Sanjay.
Yes.
I believe the election is August, you know.
Yeah,
I think
another person just messaged me and tell me the same thing. That they feel it's going to be just before school begins.
And you know why I believe so? I think it would be very foolish to carry down into September when the hurricane season starts get active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, you remember that time, Ricardo and listener, when we had to move, the government of the day had to move the election because
Portia Simpson Miller.
Yes, and
she called it for August 27th, I think it was.
Yes, and that mishap from the education ministry sending out a bulletin, and
was
then
the
government had to go.
Was it Hurricane Dean? I don't know if it was Hurricane Dean.
I don't remember which hurricane it was.
Right,
yeah.
and she had to move it to September 3rd.
But go ahead, caller. It just slipped to my mind.
Yes, sir. I can remember when the election with Mr. Gordon and Mrs. Miller coming up, Peter Bunting slogan was "Don't Stop the Progress." And he was the Minister of National Security. And crime was so bad that involved divine intervention. And I am seeing one as a National Security Minister go up Portland, go make them rob him. And that was the progress. I can remember public sector workers was on wage fees how much? It was 10 or 5 years.
I remember how long that wage fees was.
I think it's 10 years. Mr. Hilton, I think it was Anthony Hilton was the finance minister. And he said not even one.
No, man.
More.
Anthony Hilton was never finance minister.
Who was the finance minister again?
You mean Omar Davies?
When?
At what point you're talking about, though? Yeah, that's important.
It was... Anyway.
Because the wage freeze started, I think, around 2010, if my memory serves me correct. Even though there was some earlier freeze, but it wasn't for a long period in 2004. I need to go and do some checks on that. So it comes across with two finance ministers, in a sense, from the PNP administration. Davies and I know Phillips. We're not including the JLP span because you were talking specifically about the PNP.
Yes. But the point I'm making, was progress. I can remember Dr. Dawes was the Minister of Health, and he said he had was
No, Dr. Dawes was never Minister of Health.
Who was the Minister of Health?
On what period?
Within the period of time when he was.
When who was what?
Dr. Dawes.
Dr. Dawes
No, you mean when he was
he was never minister.
He was in the
No.
No.
He was at Savannah Lamar Public Hospital when he was what was he there again?
Senior
SMO?
medical officer, I think.
Yeah, SMO, yeah. That's what you're talking about?
Yes. And he said he had was to be using scandal bag.
Yes.
So
that was when he was senior medical officer for
yes.
the hospital in Savannah Lamar.
And that was one of the progress. I can remember one baby pampers was taxed. One cigarette was taxed. I can remember public sector workers now. The little people like barbers, hairdressers, handicapped people who are also paying $60,000 a year for tax. I can remember Princess Margaret Hospital in St. Thomas was closed. People had also come into KPH and public health care, and that was progress. I can remember Maypen police station was closed. Whole of fire station was closed, and many over the head was closed as well. And I can go on and on. When the dollar started was sliding away to a point where I think it reached about $70. When Mr. Gordon became Prime Minister, he had also borrowed money to put back the country on his footing. And that's how the country, we reached 100 to 1. And that was progress. I'm saying, I'm educating people about this PMP party, because the very thing that they're coming to do now, start telling with all kind of lies and spreading misinformation and trying to say that they're going to use these things to election, but it's not going to work. I am seeing this election as another landslide, and I'm going to tell you why.
Landslide?
You see, Blue Dot poll, I talked to Clifford that day, and he said he believed it was 52% of people going to vote, and 32 of that is undecided. Mark Gordon and the PMP will have to come and tell the people the plans that they have to the country to get any one of 1% of it. And if they can't get 1% of that, that's 32% vote in JLP, and it will be another landslide election again.
And what will you do if you're wrong?
If I'm wrong, you can't wrong.
Oh, you can't be wrong.
Can't be wrong.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yes, sir.
He says that he's expecting a 52% voter turnout. Eh? Well, normally when you have a high voter turnout, it is because people are not satisfied and they have decided to show their protest via the ballot.
The Labour had stopped better, fooling themselves, and if they intend to win, to take the election seriously.
I don't see a landslide though.
There's a dangerous overconfidence that they should be careful.
Goes back to what you had said initially also, Ricardo. The importance of addressing the misinformation, because if it's not being addressed, that information circulates. But because some of the Labourites are so confident that they will win, they're not focusing on that misinformation, which can cause individuals to come out and vote as a protest.
Let me tell you something. History is there as a teacher.
Yeah. Remember, the PNP was very confident
in
of that victory?
2016, February of 2016, I will never forget.
Yep, they
on
were
a
very confident
political
of victory.
platform, the then General Secretary of the PNP, Paul Burke, was listing out candidates pinned down under pressure. I even remember the calling of the election. Actually, we should play it because I think it was one of those great political moments in Jamaica's history when Portia Simpson Miller called that election in 2016. The comrades were certain. Yeah? Absolutely sure.
Wasn't it that same time when she was asked the question about losing and she said,
Do I look like a
loser?
And then them say, but she said, all right, watch. Labor rights ought to be very careful. Omalo.
Oh, Ricardo.
Yes,
Only if you give me all those minutes that you take away, I would spell the Jamaica Labour Party in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but listening this morning, Ricardo and Sanjay,
yes.
to Mr. Hilton, yeah, these are the things that really get me to think and wonder. Is there anything going on in Jamaica? Or should I celebrate that we are benefiting from what the PNP had left and Andrew now pick up? Which is it that we supposed to, what we supposed to be thinking? Because it's a state of confusion. On the campaign trail, nothing is going on. On the radio, speaking to Cliff, we are supposed to be celebrating because the people of Jamaica are benefiting from what the PNP has done and Andrew Holness take it over. Which it is. Is it that we are just saying things to get the people to just believe whatever in the confusion that we are creating to not think and vote for us? Is it that?
What I will say to you, Omalo, is that any government that is in power for over 9 years, it cannot be just the legacy or the work of a previous administration that they're banking on. Yeah. And it is very evident that, yes, there would have been previous things at the PNP foundation that they would have said that the JLP continued on. But based on various initiatives that the JLP has done, they have to be commended. The crime rate is lower. No, hold on. The crime rate is lower.
Please, let me say this.
No, but but hold on. You ask a question, Omalo. Yeah? You ask a question and I'm responding. So I'm also saying there are evidence of initiatives that the government implemented that surpasses what the PNP would have left. The very example of Spark, that is something that is different, that didn't start under the PNP. It started under the JLP. So you have to give commendation to the government that they have done things that wasn't left from the previous administration.
I'm going to tell you something though, Sanjay. If it's some of the questions them and the way they are asked, it's for the public to think about it. It's not even for the host to really reply. It's for the public based on what the political party and the campaigning and these people. It's like you're just throwing it out here for the people to decide what is it.
No, but we have a responsibility also. No, hold on. We have a responsibility also because when you throw things, it can be suggestive. And some things we have to respond to. And with respect, you have come here before and you have thrown out questions that we haven't responded to.
But you see, this is the thing, Mr. Hilton must always remember this. That there was a time in the 50s and the 60s that there were policies that were developed in Jamaica. And Michael Manley never continued those policies in 1972. Andrew Holness could have done the same thing. Andrew Holness was only different because he said what is best for Jamaica is not my ideology, it's what's going to make the people of Jamaica and the country develop. What's his name? P.J. Patterson took over our government from Edward Seago, and he never continued the policies. He went a different route and caused his own disaster. So to be saying that Andrew Holness is benefiting from their policy, Andrew Holness get a mandate from the people and could have said that these policies, I am going to go my direction, but Andrew Holness do what is best for Jamaica. So when Mr. Hilton them come and keep talking about one on the stage saying nothing now go on, and the next one come and I say, it's our policy. They have to make up their mind as to tell Jamaican people, yeah, what is it that they are trying to sell us? Because we're in a confusion as to their salesperson, which is these politicians coming out to sell us a product, and the product where they must sell with, it's confusing to buy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Omalo. Look.
Ricardo.
I'm not telling anybody that they shouldn't be confident or love their political party, what it stands for. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a way in which overconfidence can lead to complacency. Yeah? And I detect that. I'm going to be very honest. I detect that from some laborites. That they believe it is so sure, so absolutely sure, that they rule out any other possibility. You can't do that. The Prime Minister himself, I think he was in Clarendon, said that a third term is not guaranteed. That it is something that has to be worked for. That's what he said. And if history is any teacher, it tells you that it is going to be a very, very difficult undertaking.
Yeah.
It has only happened once before. Once before. So against the backdrop of history, against the backdrop of the same misinformation and disinformation that we're talking about, against the backdrop of an unpredictable electorate, against the backdrop of so many voters just not caring one way or the other, people shouldn't take anything for granted. That's all I'm saying.
Let us also recall, Ricardo and listeners, that in August of 2015, right to about November, the polls and everything was showing that the People's National Party would have won that election. And I think that
It's not even just from November.
December, yeah.
In fact, I recall the very week of the election, I recall the headlines of the Gleaner. One said PMP by a whisker. The other one said Advantage PMP. They were certain.
Yes. But the calling of the election is also important, Ricardo, because I think that had the PNP called that election, let's say September, October, or November, they would have won. It would have been very close, but I think the PNP would have won. I think, and we have spoken about this before, that the turning point where the PNP started to lose ground was in November of 2015. And then the JLP recognized and solidified themselves, came with a strong message and won in February of 2016. So I'm saying that to say there are many things that can change the political dynamics. And it is important to underscore the point that you're making, Ricardo, that the JLP and their supporters cannot be complacent.
It's 8 o'clock. We're out of time. Dana Davy, thank you. Andrew Glenn Anderson, thank you. Thank you to my colleagues in the newsroom, led by our editor, Cara Powell, our sponsors, contributors, and you, our valid listeners. We are valued, and you're also valid, so that works too. We appreciate you so much. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Good evening.
Commercial space.